I'm Jackson Pierce and I am healed! Thank you, white blood cells and creators of NyQuil. Last night I finally slept laying down without cold medicine, only now it would seem my body is conditioned to getting a dose of NyQuil every night, and so instead of sleeping I mostly just stayed up for like 3 hours playing Plants vs. Zombies. Anyhow, this video is about scary movies. I hate scary movies. Hate them. Cannot stand them. I even sometimes when a scary movie trailer comes on, I will literally cover my eyes like a child. I don't want to see them, I don't want to think about them, I don't even want to think about the ones that are supposed to be like funny scary, like, you know, Scream or House of Wax where Paris Hilton gets killed by a mysterious wax man. It's an interesting casting choice since I would wager Paris Hilton has had a few things waxed in her day. I am thinking way too hard about Paris Hilton and waxing. Anyway, no scary movies for me ever, 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 and there are 3 main reasons for this. 1, I tend to create a backstory. I think this is the writer part of my personality. You know how every scary movie has characters whose only purpose is to die terribly? You know, like the best friend or the plucky companion who gets murdered in a horrible way to show the main characters that this psychotic killer means business. I create backstories for those characters. You know, I wonder who is going to tell Paris Hilton's mother that her daughter has been murdered by a mysterious wax man. What will her funeral look like? You know, will it be open casket, what with her being mutilated by the wax and all? How long will it take them to go through her room, you know? And what they find, will it bring them closure or will it just open up more questions about their waxed to death daughter? And then instead of screaming or finding Paris Hilton's death funny, I'm suddenly caught up in this melodrama about loss and mourning, you know? It's like my mind is an automatic Lifetime movie creation center. Reason number 2 is that I do not find being scared fun at all. Haunted houses? Yeah, no. How is that fun? Why would I want to experience being chased by a chainsaw-wielding stranger? Why is that enjoyable? I don't understand and my voice is getting all high. I hear some people legitimately enjoy being scared like that, and it makes me think that they must be experiencing some sort of different emotion than I am. And number 3, I do not like the violence that typically accompanies scary movies. And I know that might sound weird because I wrote relatively violent books, but nonetheless. I don't mind a certain level of violence, especially if it makes things more realistic, but when it becomes like a, you know, what new and profound way can we draw blood / dismember / disfigure this individual? I just can't do it. I actually could not enjoy Kill Bill because of the violence, even though I thought the writing was fantastic. And those Saw movies, no, like that's just, no. Anyway, do you like scary movies? And if so, will you please explain to me why? Are we experiencing different emotions when we watch them? Because I truly do not understand. And does anybody else create backstories for characters like I do? Because I've never met anyone else that does that, but surely I am not the lone freak, you know, again, like I was in high school. Alright, anyway, I'm sorry I missed last week's video. I was still kind of feeling crappy and I was tired and, you know, kind of lazy. But I promise I won't miss any more this week. I will see you again on Thursday. I'm Jackson Pierce and this video is about my mom and taxes and gay people. It's kind of a collection video. My mom used to mutter under her breath a lot when I was younger. I suspect this is because I was a relatively intolerant child with a penchant for lying and destruction, but that's really beside the point. One thing that she used to mutter a lot was, if you want something done right, you have got to do it yourself. I don't think her frustrated mutterings were really intended to have a life lesson attached, but I found one anyhow. See, when I was a teenager, I always said that I was never ever going to vote because I felt like politics were overly complex, I felt like all politicians were liars, and I didn't really understand how my one tiny vote, like this one little action on my part, could really make the world a better place, could really impact the bigger picture. But then I got older and I started paying a lot of money in taxes, and so I got very, very concerned with where that tax money was going and therefore became very interested in politics and voting. I mean, if I'm forking over this huge percentage of my paycheck every year, I want to make sure that that is going towards something to make the world awesome, or in the very least make everything a little bit easier. So I don't mind paying taxes for things like, you know, straight lines on the roads or parks or, you know, postage, because, you know, those things are great. However, there are some things that I am very frustrated to pay taxes for. For example, this sort of friend of a friend of mine works on Capitol Hill, and she was telling me the story about how she was accidentally sent 4,000 business cards instead of 400 due to a clerical error. 4,000 gold embossed business cards were paid for with tax money. We paid for those. I paid for those. Business cards. And in New York, those state senators who make about $80,000 a year, yeah, instead of working on planting trees or building parks, right now, they're debating whether or not to allow gay people to get married. $80,000 a year, what does that break down to daily that they are spending on this issue, as if it actually requires a debate? They and hundreds, if not thousands of other government officials are sitting around on your tax dime deciding whether or not to be good and recognize that all people deserve to be treated equally, or evil and say that some people are less deserving than others. Actually weighing the pros and cons of being good or being evil. They know that allowing everybody to be legally wed and therefore treated equally is the right thing to do, especially in a country founded on principles of equality. Some of them are just worried about not being reelected, or they're trying to bring religion into it, which, if they're trying to bring religion into it, they really shouldn't be reelected anyhow, since they're supposed to be acting without bias toward their own interest, which includes their religious beliefs. But my point is, pretending that marriage equality is not the right thing to do is kind of like pretending that double stuffed Oreos are just as nutritious as celery. No matter how much you like the double stuffed Oreos, senators, you know that celery is the better choice. I really like Oreos, so I probably should have chosen a metaphor where evil was not represented by Oreos. But as my mother often muttered, if you want something done right, you have got to do it yourself. Clearly, New York senators just can't do this right without us getting involved. So if you look in the bar below, where I'm pointing right now, you will find this handy dandy little website that author Maureen Johnson made. You just plug in your name and your number and all of your information, and it will give you the name of your senator, or if you live outside of New York, it'll give you the information for the governor of New York. And then you can tell them over the phone to vote yes for marriage equality and stop wasting all of this time deciding whether or not human beings are equal. You know, because the answer is yes. Yes, for the love of God, yes, get over yourself and start debating something that actually has a gray area. If you don't know what to say, it's okay. When you go to the website, a little script will pop up and you just follow it. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you can vote or not. It really doesn't even matter if you live in New York. Although, if you live in New York, your call is especially important, so please do it. If you want the world to be a better place, if you want it done right, you have got to do it yourself. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday. Oh wait, hang on, I forgot. So several months ago, I said I was doing this contest where when I got to 4,000 YouTube subscribers and 4,000 Twitter followers, I was going to give away Arcs of Sweetly, which is my book that comes out in August, and Enthralled, which is an anthology I'm in that comes out in September. And it has become increasingly clear to me that I overestimated my abilities to get 4,000 followers on either site. It's actually kind of embarrassing. So yeah, if you could subscribe and get your friends to subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. And again, I'm giving out prizes when I get to 4,000 if I ever get there and stop being so incredibly awkward. Anyway, call your senator. Good night. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about interesting animals. Now, as I'm sure you know, nature is pretty awesome, and every time we think we've made like the coolest thing ever, nature kind of one-ups us by having something far cooler and made without the help of Steve Jobs. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of animals that I feel really encapsulate nature's coolness. Number 1, the platypus, often said to be the sign that God has a sense of humor. Did you know that the platypus is poisonous? It's true, the males have a spur on their like back foot or something, and they can dispense poison from it, and apparently it's quite painful. Although who wants to go to the emergency room and say, you know, like, help, I need pain medicine, I was poisoned by a platypus. That's not cool. That's not a cool way to get poisoned. That's just not. If a higher power exists, I think the platypus is a result of a hectic day at the office. I'll make a duck. No way to seal. No way to snake. I don't know. Kaboom, platypus! Number 2, the solenodon. The solenodon looks an awful lot like an ROUS from The Princess Bride. In fact, I think the solenodon pretty much is an ROUS. Not only is it a rodent of unusual size, but this animal is especially badass and cool because it injects venom through its teeth. Like a freaking like snake, only it's a rat monster. And apparently it likes to bite, so you know, it's coming for you. They're in danger of going extinct though, which if you're a long-time viewer, you know how sad it makes me when animals go extinct, but you know, that doesn't mean I want to see a solenodon anytime soon because yeah, teeth. Number 3, the coconut crab. The coconut crab is pretty much the stuff of nightmares. Had some seafood recently, maybe some fish, a hush puppy or 2, maybe a little bit of deviled crab meat. Well, the king of crabs is pissed and he's coming to claw your face off with his giant freaking pinchers. At least that's what I think when I see pictures of the coconut crab. They crack coconuts with those claws, which pretty much guarantees they're able to crack your skull with those claws. I seriously sometimes am afraid they're gonna come like shuffling up to my doorstep with their monster claws and open my door and come for me in the night. Don't kill me, crab monster, I'll never eat crab legs again. Apparently though, you can get them to release their death grip by tickling their undersides, you know, if you're still alive to do that after they've cracked your skull. Alright, so thank you for watching. If you would like to suggest a video, I am always in need of video topics. Feel free to leave me a suggestion on Twitter or here on YouTube, anything like that, and I will see you guys again on Thursday. I'm Jackson Pearce, and today is day 1 of 31 days of vlogging. It's exciting! So in case that intro and the title of this video were not a giveaway, I will be doing one video every day for the month of July, which is a total of 31 days. So for day 1, I thought it would be wise to sort of tell you who I am and what I am and why it would be wise to continue watching me for the next 31 days of your life. Or I guess 30 days, but anyway, yeah, who I am. I'm Jackson Pearce, and before you ask, Jackson was my mother's maiden name. I'm the author of Sisters Red and As You Wish, both of which are available now in bookstores. I also wrote Sweetly, which comes out August 23rd, and Purity, which comes out next August in 2012. I have a dog and a cat. I live in Atlanta. I can juggle. I can hula hoop. I can also parallel park really well, but it's Georgia in July, and so it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside, so instead of going to parallel park my car, just imagine it's me driving this boat. See how good I am at that? I've practiced a lot. What I am. Awkward. Kind of loud. Possibly mentally unstable, but in that sort of tinfoil hat way, you know, the fun way, not in that, you know, creepy psycho killer way. That I know of. I mean, I could snap at any moment. Why you should continue watching. Well, if the juggling did not convince you to keep watching, I don't really know what I can say here that will, but nonetheless, I will be providing free entertainment for the next 31 days. 30 days! I've got to get that right. Free entertainment, which means watching my videos is the better financial choice than going to the movies or, you know, out to eat or other places where you spend money, like, you know, strip clubs, ice cream parlors. Anyway, to kick off this 31 days of vlogging fiesta, if you comment on today's video, you can be entered to win a signed arc of The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson, a signed arc of Sweetly, which is my next book, and a signed arc of Enthralled, which is this anthology I'm in with like 1,000,000 other awesome authors. There's Kelly Armstrong, Jinlin Barnes, Sarah Reese Brennan, Ali Condi, Melissa Marr, Carrie Ryan, Jessica Verde. I mean, it's on the back. It's just, they're great. They're fantastic. So all you have to do is comment on today's video and you are entered to win. You can enter up to 10 times, so that's 10 comments, and yeah, go for it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2. I'm Jackson Pearce, and first off, here's a video of my dog barking in her sleep. Isn't she cute? Anyway, today's video is about the word literally. Now, words are important, and I know I'm a little bit biased because, you know, I really like words, but still. Words are important, and the way you use them is important, and the way you spell them is important. So in today's video, I'm gonna go over the word literally and its proper usage. So those of you guys that don't really know how to use the word correctly can become aware and informed and can begin using the word correctly in all of your, you know, daily events. And I'm also doing this kind of selfishly because the incorrect use of the word literally kind of makes me twitch. Alright, so literally means actually, in the strictest sense, without exaggeration or embellishment. So for example, I can correctly say that I literally took a hula hooping class this morning. Because I actually did. I was there. I took the class. It happened. I learned some really cool tricks too. I'll show them to you sometime when I don't suck at them. Now, when I came home from hula hooping class, I discovered that my cat was sleeping in the middle of my still unpacked suitcase from New Orleans. Everything in that suitcase is now covered in cat hair. This made me very angry. So could I correctly say I literally tried to kill my cat? No, I cannot, because despite how I felt, I did not actually chase Alcott around the house trying to kill him. There were no knives, I didn't put little cyanide pills in his food bowl. I did not actually try to kill him. I did not literally try to kill him. I figuratively tried to kill him. Figuratively, for those of you playing along at home, is the opposite of literally. Literally means actually, and figuratively means not really. People seem to have a lot of problems with literally versus figuratively. You know, I mean, I see YouTube comments all the time where people say, I literally laughed my ass off. Really? Your ass fell off because you were laughing so hard? It's on the floor right now. Because I think instead of commenting on YouTube, you should probably go to the hospital. Though I guess somebody else is gonna have to drive you since you literally have no ass to sit in the driver's seat. The road ahead is gonna be tough for you, my assless friend. There you have it, literally versus figuratively. Now you know. Use this knowledge for good, literally. And if I catch you using the word literally wrong after you've been informed, then I'm gonna hit you with a sword. Literally. No, I'm just kidding. That was figuratively. Maybe. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about misplaced bodies. So I'm into history, more specifically the personal lives of famous historical figures. Yes, I think it's very interesting to know the dates in which a king reigned, but I'm really more intrigued by, you know, how many mistresses he had, or what were his hobbies. Basically, I am into history the same way I am into gossip columns, you know? I like to pry. All of that prying means I have kind of a weird collection of historical knowledge, and so in this video, I'm going to share that knowledge with you and talk about 3 historical body mix-ups. Alright, here we go. Number 1, Louis XVII of France. Louis XVII was the son of Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI. Sadly, Louis had a pretty rough life. When he was only 7 years old, his family was overthrown and imprisoned. Over the next few years, his family was systematically executed and he was moved from one terrible prison to another. He eventually died in prison from tuberculosis and his body was buried without a marker. His heart, however, was cut out and preserved separately because apparently that was tradition at the time. You preserve the heart and bury the body of royals. The doctor who cut the heart out, however, he kept it for a while just for kicks, and eventually a student stole it, and then when the student died, the student's wife returned it to the doctor. Then the Spanish branch of the Bourbon family got it, and then they sent it back to France, and then it was interred in France, but it was only known as the heart of a child who died during the French Revolution. Nobody really remembered that it was Louis XVII's heart. Apparently, someone did their homework though and suspected the heart belonged to Louis XVII, and so they DNA tested it against a lock of Marie Antoinette's hair from her childhood in Austria. And lo and behold, the heart did belong to Louis XVII, and it is amazing that it wasn't lost after all of these years of changing hands and madness. Louis's heart is now interred with the rest of his family in the royal crypt, so kind of happy ending, I guess. Number 2, Amelia Earhart. Everybody knows Amelia Earhart's story, but just in case, she was this rock star female pilot who tried to circumnavigate the globe in the 1930s. Unfortunately, she didn't make it around the globe. She and her plane disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Most people think the plane crashed into the water and sank, but there are a few people who think Amelia managed to land the plane on an uninhabited island in the Pacific named Gardner Island. This theory is largely based on several archaeological finds on the island, like a size 9 women's cat paw heel from the 1930s, some improvised tools, some pieces of metal that may have come from the plane, and this piece of glass that was the exact thickness and curvature as her plane's windshield. Oh, and a skeleton! Yeah, they found a skeleton on the island. The skeleton was found by a British guy on the island in 1940, and he sent it to Fiji where some other British guys determined it belonged to a short man. But in 1998, some forensic anthropologists looked at the measurements of that skeleton and they determined that it probably belonged to a tall white woman. You know, like Amelia Earhart. Unfortunately, we will never be able to DNA test the skeleton because it was misplaced in Fiji a long time ago. They lost a skeleton. Who loses a skeleton? I mean, I lose my car keys all the time, but I like to think that if I were in charge of human remains, that I would maybe keep tabs on them. I'm still pretty mad about this, Fiji. You best find that skeleton. And number 3, Anastasia Romanov. Now, some of you have probably seen the animated Anastasia movie, but let's just say that was a teensy bit inaccurate, although it had great songs. In a nutshell, Anastasia was the Grand Duchess of Russia, but during the Bolshevik Revolution, she and her family were captured and killed in 1918. However, in 1991, when the secret gravesite of the Romanov family was finally excavated, there were 2 bodies missing. One of the missing bodies belonged to Anastasia's little brother, Alexei, and the other missing body either belonged to Anastasia or Anastasia's sister, Maria. It was never really clear. Either way, missing royal family body equals scandal, and so it just furthered speculation that Anastasia Romanov had survived her family's murder. But alas, in 2007, 2 additional bodies were discovered at a bonfire site. Apparently, the Bolsheviks very intentionally disposed of those 2 bodies separately. That way, if the graves were ever discovered, the body count would be wrong and no one would realize they'd murdered the royal family. DNA testing proved that the bodies belonged to Alexei and one of his sisters, but we've still never been able to determine which body is Maria and which body is Anastasia. That said, all of the Romanov family has now been accounted for, and so there were no survivors, you know, despite what movies tell you. It's very sad. Alright, I hope that was informative and will help you out when playing Trivia Sunday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about how I come up with the names for my book characters, and it's by request, so I apologize to those of you who are not like writing people or reading people. Just bear with me. There'll be more antics tomorrow. Oh, and I'm wearing this because it's late and just got out of the shower, and yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I figured the screen cap of me wearing this was more interesting than my regular fare, and so it might entice more people to click and watch. Also, I just like it because sometimes when I'm wearing it, I pretend I'm an alligator or the Grinch, you know. Either one. Anyway, so today I was talking to a friend who mentioned that he and some guy named Chad were hanging out together. And my instant reaction was, oh, Chad. Chad, to me, is a frat guy. Chad smashes beer cans on his head. Chad probably wears football jerseys even though he never played for his college's football team. I don't like Chad. I've never liked Chad. Actually, I don't know Chad. I've never met him. I know nothing about him. In fact, I don't even know if I've ever met anyone named Chad. No Chads have crossed my path. Yet for some reason, the name Chad conjures up a very specific image, almost as if Chad were like a brand name instead of an individual's name. I know I'm not alone in this. Almost all of you probably have a collection of names that have a very specific connotation attached to them, even though you may not know where that connotation came from. Maybe you used to know somebody with that name, or maybe you're related to somebody with that name, or maybe it's the name of a book character, or a TV character, or a video game character. It doesn't really matter. Either way, the name and the connotation are like married forever in your mind. This often creates problems when naming book characters. I figure if I name a character something like, say, Emily, which is a very popular name right now, then there's a good chance readers will have met an Emily, and the quality of their relationship with that Emily will shade how they see the Emily character in the book. And I don't want that, so just no Emilys. But I also think if you name characters something too unusual, then the name can be distracting. Like, you know, when the book character's name is like all vowels and you're like, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Like, how do you say 17 A's and an E? And I also really like for my names to kind of mesh together. You know, I don't feel like I can have Gretchen, Samuel, and Tiffany. I feel like readers will be so busy playing one of these things is not like the other that they won't be able to focus on the book. And I like for my character names to mean something if at all possible. My two main characters in Sisters Red are named Scarlet and Rosie. Obviously those are two colors, they're shades of red. I also really liked the way the name Scarlet had a sharp sound to it, which kind of matched Scarlet's character, and the name Rosie had a soft sound to it, which kind of matched Rosie's character. This mask is starting to dry. Despite all this, sometimes characters are really easy to name. Sometimes I just know what their names are and that's that. Scarlet and Rosie were like that actually. I always knew what their names would be, but Silas took a lot of work. For a long time, he was just that guy in the manuscript. I had to hunt and hunt and hunt before I finally found the name Silas, which fit him perfectly, but it took ages. So anyway, the answer to how do you name your book characters is, I don't know. It's different every time. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's hard. But it is never, ever Chad. If your name is Chad and you're watching this video, by the way, I am so sorry. I know that it is not fair that I judge your name and I've never met you, and I'm sure you're a really nice guy, so I'm sorry. Don't let my judgments hold you back. You keep on chatting. I gotta go wash this off because it's drying so much that it's making it hard to speak. So thank you for watching and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce and this video is about my trip to the doctor's office today and also that whole Wall Street Journal article thing. I went to the doctor today. This is a pretty big deal for me because I never ever go to the doctor. So I was already in kind of a bad mood when I walked in that I was even at the doctor's office, and then this happened. I see you listed author as your profession. Yeah, I write young adult books. They're sort of ages 12 to 24, but I have readers of all ages. That's so exciting! My kids are really big readers. One of them's 13. Do you think your books will be good for her? Well, if she's a big reader, then yeah, probably. Whew, that is such a relief to hear you say, because I feel like when I go to the bookstore, every book I see is about vampires, and if it's not about vampires, it's about werewolves, you know? I mean, she doesn't need that. What are your books about? It's about two sisters who fight werewolves. Right, so no allergies then, no allergies, huh? She was super embarrassed, which I found so funny that it was actually kind of hard for me to be that mad at her for it. I also found it alarmingly fitting that we were having that conversation because not 10 minutes before, I'd been sitting in the waiting room listening to Maureen Johnson defend young adult literature to a Wall Street Journal columnist. Most of you already know about this, but just in case you don't, here's a recap. The Wall Street Journal recently published an article in which the columnist talked about how difficult it was as a parent to go to the bookstore and try to pick out a book for your teenager, only to discover that all of the books on the shelf for teens had really dark topics like rape and incest and cutting and bulimia and all of these super dark things. The article questions the need for darkness in YA and speculates that dark books like that might lure an otherwise happy kid to be depressed. Now, let's ignore the fact that the Wall Street Journal article is just flatly wrong. There is plenty of dark YA, but there's also plenty of light YA and plenty of in-between YA. What really bothered me about the article and about what my doctor said was these adults making the presumption that they know what another person, specifically a teenage person, needs. When I was a teenager, the thing that frustrated me, the thing that made me feel hopeless and ugly and worthless, was not bullies or self-image or self-doubt. It was adults dismissing me. I assume they were speaking from a place of experience usually, you know, they knew that the breakup I was devastated over would soon pass, but that didn't mean it wasn't real to me, that it didn't hurt really badly at the time. And even though they were my parents and teachers and coaches, they couldn't possibly understand what I needed because they're not me. I was a pretty happy teenager overall, but I still had a lot of questions that adults in my life just couldn't answer, needs they couldn't fulfill. I wanted to know what it was like to be a drug addict and have an eating disorder and have a loved one die and fall in love. I saw my friends going through these things. I saw the world going through these things, and I needed to understand them. I needed to make sense of them. Books didn't make me wallow in darkness. Darkness made me wallow in books, and it was books that showed me there is light at the end of the tunnel. Teenagers choose the books they need. Everyone chooses the books they individually need. And we might not always understand, why do you choose these books, or why didn't you choose those books, or why would you want to read something dark, or why would you want to read paranormal romance? But that doesn't really matter, because we can wonder and point fingers at publishers and authors and society for making teenagers want these dark books, but that doesn't change the fact that that dark book fulfills a need in a teenager that we can't possibly understand because we are not them. So before you tell your kid that they can't read a certain book, before you write an article warning everybody about the death and depravity in YA, consider the fact that teenagers are not 7-year-olds. Their needs are more complex than Teddy Grahams and bedtime stories. Their needs might be more complex than you can understand, well-meaning as you are. It is pure arrogance for anybody to assume what somebody else needs out of a book, so get out of their way. Just get out of their way, let them read. Alright, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about clubs. Not the kind you hit people with, the kind you go to. You know, hand gestures today on the vlog. I'm really into pop music, and specifically I'm really into singing pop music loudly in the car. I cannot help but notice though that just about every pop song has some sort of line about going to clubs. Or rocking clubs. Or never leaving clubs. Or even trying to answer your phone in clubs. I sing those lines as if I totally buy into what they're saying, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't go to clubs, ever. I sometimes go to bars, I guess, but I don't like it if they're really smoky, and I really don't like it if the music is so loud that you can't hear the other people at your table talking, because how are you supposed to have a conversation? So I like quiet bars. I really like bars that also serve food. I like restaurants, basically, is what I'm getting at. But clubs are just very much not my scene, and they never really have been. When I was in college, actually, I was supposed to meet this guy for a date at a club, and the conversation went kind of like this. Meet you at the 40 Watt? Oh yeah, no, I totally know where that is. Yeah, everyone knows where that is. Yeah. All right, yeah, I'll see you there. Okay. Hey man, do you know where some place called the 40 Watt is? I'm always hearing these songs though about going to clubs, and I have friends that go to clubs, and I see all these pictures of celebrities going to clubs, and so I can't help but wonder if I'm missing something. Is there free candy there? Pony rides, perhaps? Because based on my research, all clubs really have to offer me is the drunk incarnations of every 20-something celebrity, and to be entirely honest, I would rather stay home and watch Deadliest Catch. Do you go to clubs? Is there something I'm missing? Are they awesome? Or are you more like me and it's just not your scene? Let me know in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about previous jobs I've had. I'm currently a full-time writer, and even though it's a very stressful job sometimes, there is nothing else in the entire world I would rather be. However, I did have sort of an assortment of other weird jobs before I became an author, so I thought in this video I would share 3 of them with you. Number 1, I was a bagger at Winn-Dixie. It was my first job. I got this job when I was 13, and it was a miserable experience. First off, Winn-Dixie in my town, not exactly a classy establishment. Secondly, I got fired from this job because they thought I was stealing. Seriously, they accused me of stealing one of those little miniature bottles of chocolate milk. I mean, who would steal that? The Nesquik rabbit? Of course I didn't steal it, but I still got fired, so. The manager who fired me was kind of crazy though, and as it turns out, he was stealing large amounts of money and merchandise from the store. Plus, for bonus creeper points, he was also a sex offender on the run from the FBI. Seriously. The name he gave us, John Smith, was just a fake name, and they interviewed a few of the people who worked there years later. I don't really know if they ever caught him, but either way, I think getting fired, probably a lucky break. Thank you, chocolate milk, for vanishing off a shelf, and yeah. I mean, chocolate milk is delicious, I just wouldn't steal it. That's all I'm trying to say. Number 2, I waitressed at a really trashy bar called Wackadoo. Yes, the name sounds inappropriate, I know. The place was kind of inappropriate too, actually. It was all female employees, which I thought was just a coincidence until I worked there a few months and realized it was more of an unofficial company policy to only hire women. We served wings and lots of beer, and I made pretty good money there until one day, overnight, the place shut down. I mean, I came in to check my hours and there was a chain around the door and a sign that said, "We're remodeling." Wackadoo never reopened. Eventually somebody broke in, installed all the furniture and televisions, and a few years later the building was rechristened as a family-friendly burger joint. Number 3, I was an obituaries writer at a newspaper in Athens, Georgia. I actually really enjoyed this job, apart from 2 truly horrible bosses. When I did weekend obituaries, I was usually the only one in the building, and so I typically bring a book with me. I remember reading most of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince sitting at my desk with the lights turned down low, waiting for obituaries to come across on the fax machine. People think writing obituaries would be sad, but it really isn't. For one, obituaries are written for the living, not for the dead, and secondly, obits are basically just little essays about how awesome a person was. It was nice reading about all these really cool people, even if they weren't around anymore. So have you had any weird jobs, any really awesome jobs, any jobs similar to mine? Let me know about them in the comments. In the meantime, I have got to get back to work because I am working on a new book and it is kind of like eating my brain right now. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. I'm Jackson Pearce and I have a big announcement. I am not pregnant. That's not the big announcement, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Because yesterday's video, the one that didn't actually happen, was supposed to be about babies, and I said that in the info bar, and then I said today I've got a big announcement, and people on Twitter are like, Jackson's pregnant, and I'm like, no, really, really no. But moving on to my actual big announcement. So, Sisters of Red is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, and Sweetly is a retelling of Hansel and Gretel. That information is also not the announcement. And I'm delighted to announce that there is now a 3rd book in my fairy tale retelling series. That book is called Fathomless. It's a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and now it is official. It will be coming out in fall of 2012. But that's not all. Purity, my first contemporary novel, will now be coming out in April of 2012. I have 2 books coming out next year. This is 4 fingers. I have 2 books coming out next year. Yay! See, this is how this announcement is different than if I were announcing I was pregnant, because then I'd be super freaked out. No offense to pregnant people. Alright, thank you guys for watching and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pearce and this video is about the meaning of a flashing yellow traffic light. So this video is kind of US specific and I'm sorry about that, international viewers. But the fact that most drivers in the US don't seem to know what a flashing yellow traffic light means is like a serious pet peeve of mine. Not knowing traffic laws causes accidents. And it also causes me to get angry and use my horn obsessively and occasionally cast the middle finger at another driver. So here's what to do if you come across a traffic light that is either flashing yellow, flashing red, or out entirely. For this demonstration, you will be the red car because I like it best. Let's say you're driving along, you get to an intersection, and the traffic light is flashing yellow. Flashing yellow means proceed with caution. You do not have to stop. You simply slow down a little bit and go through the intersection as per usual. See, if you've got a yellow flashing light, that means the cars over here have a red flashing light, which brings me to what a red flashing light means. A red flashing light, just like any red light, means stop. So see, in our scenario from earlier, these people have to stop and wait till the intersection clears of those people happily proceeding with caution through their flashing yellow light. The reason it infuriates me when people stop at a yellow light is it causes accidents. Because see, if you start making it a 4-way stop, then everyone's stopping and whatnot, and then all of a sudden here comes a guy who knows you're not supposed to stop at yellow lights, he goes coasting through, boom, kapow, accidents happen. Of course, there will be times when everybody at the intersection has a flashing red light, in which case it becomes a 4-way stop. And if the light isn't flashing any color, if it's just out altogether, then it also becomes a 4-way stop. So are we clear? Flashing yellow? That means proceed with caution. Do not stop. Just don't. This is true of every single state in the US. The laws don't change when you travel. Flashing yellow, don't stop. Flashing red, stop. Flashing green, I don't know what's going on. I don't think that actually happens. Maybe flashing green should mean like, drive real fast. Alright, thank you guys for watching and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pearce and this video is about how to write a book. I've done videos like this before, but if coaching color guard taught me anything, is that sometimes you have to say something a bunch of different ways to make sure everybody understands it. So here's advice that I give people when they tell me that they want to write a book. First off, when people tell me they want to write a book, I always advise them to start right now. Or when they get home from work, because it's always people telling me this at like the dentist or the doctor or the gym or something like that, but either way, I always tell them they should start immediately. Because not to go all rent on you, but this moment is the only one you know you have. There is no day but today. The fire's out anyway, no day but today. Take your brown eyes, your pretty smile, your silhouette. I really like Rent, even though I should probably never sing in videos, or in life, really. But seriously, a year from now, you'll wish that you'd started your book today, so start today. But I don't know where to start is the most common response. To which I answer, if you want to write a book, you probably have a book idea, which means you know where to start. Maybe that's not on the first page, you know? Maybe where you start will be a scene that happens toward the end of the book, or maybe it'll be a witty little piece of dialogue, or maybe it'll be a fabulous description or a character sketch or just an outline. Regardless of what it is, grab onto the idea that is the loudest and most obvious in your mind and write it down, and there, now you've started. But how do you write such long books? This is about to get super like motivational speaker-ish, but as Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I write long books the same way I write short emails, one word at a time. But what if it isn't good is typically the next question. So what? No one dies if you write a book that sucks. No kitten becomes homeless if your chapter breaks are lame. No orphan is denied dinner if your character building sucks. If it sucks, you'll revise, you'll make it better. Or not, maybe you'll walk away from it and start an entirely new book. But saying, what if I write a book and it isn't good before you've written the book is kind of like saying, what if a year from now I'm eating dinner and it isn't delicious? The next most common statement is, I don't have time to write a book. Odds are you do. Everyone has a daily priority list. Let's say yours is waking up, going to work, eating lunch, coming home, watching a little bit of TV, and then going to bed. Stop watching TV. You can take that hour and work on your book instead. You don't want to stop watching TV? Okay, that's fine, but understand that means you do have time to write a book, you're just choosing to use that time to do something else. And that is okay. It's your time. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Just understand that no one has magical bonus hours in the day for writing. Everyone has 24 hours in their day, and people who write books, they make time within that 24 hours for writing because they put it very, very high on their priority list. So high that sometimes they don't get to watch TV or go out to dinner or go to movies or get on Facebook. If writing isn't a very high priority for you, that's okay. They're your priorities. Just be honest with yourself about it. But if you can find just 30 minutes in your day and you can write 200 words in that 30 minutes, in less than a year, you'll have a manuscript. Whenever I say all that, by the way, people get really, really defensive and start giving me the rundown of their day, trying to sort of prove to me that they really don't have time. But like, you don't have to prove anything to me, okay? I'm just a person on the internet. You've got nothing to prove to me. You just have to prove it to yourself. Writing books is not easy, but it's not supposed to be. In the immortal words of Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. The hard is what makes it great. All right, I hope all that was helpful. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, this would be a good time to do so because I'm writing a book right now, and so I keep having these writing parties. It's basically where we all get on Twitter and use the hashtag writing party, and then we write together for 30 minutes, and then we slack off together for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then repeat. It's good times. There's a link below somewhere. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is quick and kind of dirty. I mean, the editing will be dirty because I'm tired, and I'm not gonna do anything dirty in the video. It's just, yeah. Anyway, my point is I'm kind of sickish today, so for this video I'm going to be answering questions from Twitter. Yeah, I know, I'm kind of phoning it in. To make up for it, here's a video of my cat in a box. Who doesn't like videos like that? Here we go. I got my very first literary agent the same way just about everybody gets their first agent, which is I queried a million agents and got lots of rejections and then finally found an agent who was eager to represent me. The site I used for agent research and information, by the way, is agentquery.com, which is a really, really great resource, and they are not paying me to say that or anything, so you should go there and find things, and yeah. I have not been reading very many series books lately, to be honest, but since the last book in Maggie Stiefvater's Shiver series just came out and it's pretty fantastic, I'm gonna go with that one. No, and I do not understand how some people do that because to me it seems incredibly painful, you know. I can do a cartwheel though, so there's that. I'm glad you asked. Since I was sick most of the day today, there were no parties, but tomorrow we will be partying from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and again from 8 p.m. to whenever I can't possibly hold my eyes open. Those are all Eastern Standard Times, by the way. I will try to announce writing party times on Twitter from now on too, so you guys can plan ahead if you really want to attend. I really like that song Home by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, which I know has been out for like a million years, but there you have it. The only thing I'm actually actively listening to right now is this 1 hour and 8 minute long recording of ocean waves crashing because I'm in the middle of writing Fathomless and that's kind of the soundtrack. That recording, by the way, costs $10 on iTunes. $10 for waves crashing. This is waves crashing, by the way. It was pretty fantastic. Actually, it was just flatly amazing. I like the words, obviously, but I'm gonna get super sappy here and say I probably don't need to find the words since it's Harry Potter and most of you probably understand how I feel. My shirt, by the way, Harry Potter. That's right. Still wearing it. All right, so I am going to bed so I can get better and be up bright and early tomorrow to party with some of you guys on Twitter. If you don't know what all this party talk is, by the way, watch yesterday's video and everything will become clear. And some of you, by the way, will remember that I am giving away prizes when I reach 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. And as of right now, I am 11 subscribers away from that number. So if you have 11 friends, this would be an excellent time to phone in a favor. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about small claims court. So 3 or 4 years ago, this girl named Brandy sideswiped my car when I was at a red light. She admitted it was her fault right away, and she promised she was gonna pay for all of the damages, but I still insisted that a police officer come out and file a report and stuff. I had an estimate done on what it would cost to repair my car, about $2,000 give or take, and I called Brandy to let her know and then never heard back from her. This is because it turns out Brandy did not have car insurance, so she was gonna have to pay for those damages out of pocket. So instead of, arranging a payment system with me or asking for another estimate, she decided she was just gonna ignore my phone calls and hope that I went away quietly into the night. Unfortunately for Brandy, going away is not really my style. So to get my money, I decided to sue her in small claims court. This video is how I went about doing that. Now, please keep in mind, I am not a lawyer. I'm not a trained professional at anything. Just wanted to get that out of the way and make sure we're clear. But anyway, here we go. First step, assemble everything you have that shows the other person, who for this case will be called the defendant, owes you money. Contracts, checks, police reports. By the way, had I not gotten a police report when Brandy hit me, I would have been dead in the water because there would have been no way to prove Brandy had actually hit my car. Always have the police come out. Always, always, always. Secondly, figure out how much the person realistically owes you. If they've gypped you $300, you cannot sue them for $3,000, no matter how big of a jerk they've been, no matter how much emotional stress they've caused. Once you figure that number out, check and make sure your case actually qualifies as a small claims case, because every state has a limit on how much money you can ask for in small claims court. Georgia's limit is $15,000, for example, but I think some states are as low as $2,000. Number 3, go to your local courthouse and tell the nice person at the front desk that you want to file a small claims case. Go down the hallway and file your case. If the person lives out of state, by the way, like Brandy did, there's going to be some additional paperwork you have to file. You will have to pay court fees to file, by the way, which is around $50 or so. 4, provide the defendant with a copy of the plaintiff's claim. You're the plaintiff, by the way. You know those movies You Got Served? Well, this is getting served. The defendant is being served your case. It's really much less exciting than the movies, which really weren't that exciting either. You will not be the one personally doing the serving, by the way. There are several ways it can be done, but you'll most likely just pay a fee and have the sheriff's department do it for you. Number 5, you'll be scheduled for a hearing. Show up on time and wearing something your grandmother would approve of. I am not kidding. One time I was in a courthouse and I saw this girl wearing a shirt that said, "Objects under shirt may be larger than they appear." Classy. Now, in some states like Georgia, for example, they try to sort everything out before your hearing at something called a mediation hearing. But if that's not the case, you will go to your hearing and your court date will be set. Number 6, go to your court date. Have everything organized and ready and know exactly what you're going to say. For some tips, watch one of those daytime court TV shows. Judge Mathis, Judge Judy, any of the above. Study them closely. Watch how both the plaintiff and the defendants act. And when you're in court, do absolutely everything in your power to not act like those lunatics on television. You know what is never going to help you win a court case? Going, nuh-uh, you lying. It doesn't do any good. After you, the plaintiff, have said your piece, the defendant will get to say his piece, and then the judge will make a decision. In the situation with Brandy, we actually settled everything in a mediation hearing. I won $2,000, what she paid to me in $100 increments bi-weekly for the next year and a half. I am sure it made her absolutely miserable, and I do not feel bad about that. I never told her, though, that if she had just acted human and taken responsibility for the damage she'd caused, I would only have charged her the $200 to fix my side mirror that she knocked off. I kind of secretly hope she's watching this video. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and yes, I do have 4,000 subscribers now, so I will be drawing a winner for fabulous prizes, but that will have to happen tomorrow because I'm going to bed. Yeah. Okay, bye. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about camping. First of all, I will confess that I am something of a girly girl these days. I like clothes, I like makeup, I like the color pink. Now, I am not some incapable, girlish ninny, don't get me wrong. To prove it to you, see, I have tools, and I know how to use them, thank you, Dad. And I can grill and install things, and I totally do not freak out when I break a nail. In fact, it actually kind of bothers me that people think if you like girly things, then you're somehow like dumb or you're setting feminism back a million years. I mean, isn't the whole goal of the feminist movement that I can choose both lipstick and a circle sander if I want to? However, there is one thing that I have never ever been interested in. Even when I was a baby tomboy and baby redneck, I just totally was not interested in it. And that thing is camping. Not interested, don't want to do it, don't even care that it makes me look like the evil stepmother in the Lindsay Lohan adaptation of Parent Trap. There are several reasons for this. Reason number 1, air conditioning. I like it. I like to press a button and be warm, or press a button and be cool. I actually think I'd probably be okay camping in the summer months because heat doesn't really bother me all too much, but cold, No. There is little I hate more than being cold. Reason number 2, my bed. It's awesome. Why would I choose to sleep on cold ground when I have a bed? A really nice bed. Number 3, things. I don't know what kind of things are in the woods. And not knowing really bothers me. I like certainty about who and what will be watching me sleep, and in the forest you don't have that. It could be a bear, it could be an insect, it could be an axe murderer. Any one of these things is a possibility. Number 4. Okay, I'm out of reasons. I just don't like camping. I think it's actually kind of odd that I am so not interested in camping because I really do like the outdoors. I'm into animals and adventures and nature. I just don't want to sleep in it. I guess I would make a terrible pioneer, wouldn't I? Which is a shame, really, because I am really good at Oregon Trail. I mean, like, really good at that game. I almost never get dysentery. Are you into camping? I mean, like serious camping, like in a tent in the woods. RV people? Sorry, the RV doesn't count, okay? Camping. Let me know in the comments. I would like to know what appeals to you so much. Also, if you're really into camping, let me know if you camped as a child, because I can't help but notice that most people who are really into camping was like a big important part of their childhood, so I think that might be why some people love it and I don't like it. Or I just like air conditioning. Anyway, in an unrelated note, I finally have 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is fantastic and exciting because it means one subscriber is going to win an arc of my next book, Sweetly, which comes out on August 23rd, and an arc of Enthralled, which is this anthology that I'm in with a bunch of other really fantastic authors. So the winner is SGirly18. SGirly18, send me an email, please. Jackson@jacksonpearce.com. Let me know your address and I will get your book sent off to you right away. Speaking of Sweetly, I bought milk the other day that expires on August 25th. 2 days after Sweetly comes out. That's how soon it is. The milk will outlast my date. I don't know. The point is I'm freaking out and I'm really, really excited. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. I'm Jackson Pearce and this video is about body image. Today I was at this cafe in Atlanta and I saw these 2 sisters eating lunch. One was 9 or 10, the other was probably 13 or 14. The 9-year-old had ordered some sort of cookie or pastry or something, and after she finished her meal, she sort of sadly looked at it and said, "I really shouldn't have gotten that. I'm trying to watch my weight." The 13-year-old agreed with her, making it, in my opinion, one of the saddest exchanges I've seen ever. Now, before I keep going, let's just get one thing out of the way. I know that childhood obesity is a very serious problem in the US. I don't think there is anything wrong with a person, even a child, being health conscious. However, we all know that health conscious and self-conscious are not the same thing. A lot of people like to blame the media for the body issues that a lot of young women have these days. And it's true, we are constantly being bombarded with images of women who have been photoshopped to create this completely unattainable standard of beauty. But I think that there are forces more powerful than any magazine cover, and those forces are role models. Moms, older sisters, teachers, not just school teachers, dance teachers and voice coaches and soccer coaches and whatever. I don't think the girl at the cafe was mimicking magazines when she said she was watching her weight. I think she was probably mimicking her mother. If her mother is constantly criticizing her own body and making a big show out of being unhappy with herself, then why would the daughter do anything different? Why would she become a confident, self-assured woman if her strongest role model isn't? I don't always think that women who pose as a role model for girls of any age understand the impact they can have on that girl's self-esteem, for better and for worse. I love my mom dearly, but I cannot tell you the number of times she said, "Do you really need that?" as I was eating, and I still remember that the very first time I ever felt fat was when she warned me that the shorts I was wearing made me look huge. And she was doing her absolute best, you know? She saw her daughter gaining weight during puberty and she wanted to do everything she could to make sure I was happy and healthy, but that wasn't exactly how it worked. Instead of trying to become healthy, I became sad. It kind of ended up working out for me in a weird way because my way of rebelling was to one day decide that I am freaking awesome, and I became pretty damn confident about my appearance. But I do not think that's how it works out for everyone. I think more often than not, girls wind up thinking their body isn't and can never be good enough. And maybe those issues are rooted way more deeply than role models, but I think so many of them could be avoided. If you are in a role model position, girls who look up to you are watching how you act. They're watching what you say and do, and if you want them to become beautiful, self-assured, confident, successful women, then you have to be all of those things yourself. Don't screw them over and land them with your own image and self-esteem issues because you're not taking it seriously. So when you are obsessively weighing yourself or talking about the parts of your body that you hate or thinking about getting that boob job, remember that you're being watched. I'm not saying you can't diet or exercise or hell even get the boob job. I'm just saying make sure the girls who look up to you understand why you're doing it, why you're making those decisions, and why they don't have to, because they are perfect the way they are. And if you are a girl / young woman, you are awesome. And if you want to lose weight or dye your hair or wear makeup, that's fine. But understand that you will still be you no matter what changes you make to your appearances, and you are more than enough. And if the role models in your life aren't telling or showing you that in some way, then find new role models. And do it fast before you wind up on that ridiculous carrot and boiled chicken diet I did once in high school. It wasn't good. Alright, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about cute things. It's kind of a tradition between me and my friends that we always pass along cute things that we find on the internet to one another, specifically cute animals. Raccoons, armadillos, llamas, rhesus monkeys, it really doesn't matter because a video of a cute animal doing something cute is pretty much guaranteed to stop me in my tracks no matter what I am working on. So today I reached a new level of distraction and decided to not only look up pictures of cute animals, but to look up why exactly I find them so cute. What's going on in my brain that when I see any cute animal, I'm like, ah. As I explain this, by the way, you're gonna see some images of baby animals in your screen somewhere over there, both to prove my point and because who doesn't like baby animals? So all baby mammals have similar characteristics. They have big heads, big eyes, non-threatening limbs and snouts. These are characteristics that appeal to our nurturing side. When we see an animal like this, we know that it needs us to take care of it. There's a reason all baby mammals pretty much look this way. In utero, the brain has to pretty much get to a size where it can keep the organism housing it alive. And all of that requires a brain that's pretty large compared to the mammal's body, so the head has to be big in order to house it. Also, mammals' eyes don't really grow all that much. They only increase a few millimeters from the time you're born till the time you're like 5 years old or so. Which is why baby mammals have those adorable, cute, blinking eyes. So baby animals didn't evolve to be cute. I mean, they have to have the big head and the big eyes. We evolved to find them cute. We evolved to identify an animal with those features as something we need to help and nurture and take care of. So yeah, there you go. I cannot help the fact that I spend so much time looking at pictures of cute animals on the internet. It's evolution's fault I'm this way. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and right now I'm at my parents' house, land of the animal-themed lamps. I really like the lamps, Mom. I'm just noting that there are a lot of animal-themed lamps here, but they're helping me with my lighting, so it's okay. I'm here because I'm watching my parents' two dogs, these Westies, who gleefully alert me to any potential intruders, but also to any squirrel that dares to scamper across the yard. The squirrels are right there on the other side of the glass. They're within reach. Yet the Westies can't get to them. Day after day, looking at all the squirrels that might be yet can never be, one might say those squirrels symbolize the futility of striving for one's dreams. This video is about symbolism, by the way. One of the questions I get asked fairly often when I do school visits is whether or not I intentionally use symbolism in my books. I imagine that this is because by high school, people have taken about 97 tests on what the rosebush or the letter A or the raven or boxer or the green light symbolizes, and they would really love to hear that it's all a load of crap. So does any author intentionally use symbolism in their work? The answer is yes and no. Sort of. See, I don't necessarily think of symbolism as a literary device. I kind of think of it as a way of seeing the world. Because you can see those squirrels outside as just squirrels, nothing more, and you wouldn't be wrong. But you can also see those squirrels as more than squirrels. You can see them as symbols of something, and in doing so, you'll be asking deeper questions about control over one's life and goal setting and dreams. And I like those deeper questions. I'm not saying that every time a squirrel runs across the street, I think, oh, dreams. But I do like that these little things, these symbols, can be a pathway to thinking about bigger things. You do this too, whether you realize it or not. Have you ever been in a really pissed off mood and you feel like every song that comes on the radio is some happy little pop song? And it really infuriates you because, you're really angry and the rest of the world seems to be singing about last Friday night. Those songs, you might say, are a symbol of how every man is an island and how even though the world is made up of individuals, the world as a whole doesn't really care about the individual. So when I go to write a book, I don't sit down and say, all right, I've got to use a symbol, think, Pierce, think. All the cool authors use symbols, you got to use one. But as I write and as I get into the heads of my characters, symbols start to appear because that's kind of just how I see the world. In Sisters Red, for example, Rosie mentioned some green glass mixing bowls that she inherited from her grandmother. They naturally just came up several times. And eventually I played them up as a symbol of the domestic, safe life that Rosie wants yet can never have. Did I intentionally use symbolism? Well, no, I didn't create the mixing bowls just to be a symbol, but yes, I did actually play them up once I realized they were. Yeah, sometimes a rose bush is just a rose bush, and sometimes a green light is just a green light, and that's fine. But being aware of symbols makes books deeper and more meaningful simply because you're forced to look beyond the pages, beyond what the author is telling you directly. It's a much more interactive experience, and it's a much more fulfilling experience in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna go look at some squirrels. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and I had to do this video really fast because there's only 3 minutes of battery left on my camera, 2 minutes of battery left on my camera actually. Luckily, the topic of this video is Hollywood remaking TV shows, which is something I can get through rather quickly. I've written an open letter to Hollywood on the topic, and I'm going to read that letter to you now. Dear Hollywood, some things deserve to be remade. For example, awesome shows that didn't have the opportunity to be super awesome shows because the technology just wasn't available at the time. Star Trek was a good example of this. The 2009 Star Trek movie was, in my opinion, everything a good remake should be. It was respectful to the old show and referenced it really well, yet it had its own unique plot that was really amazing. I'm not even a huge Star Trek fan, and yet I would totally watch that movie just about any day of the week, and not just because the guy who plays Kirk is really hot, as is the guy that plays Spock actually. However, some things do not deserve to be remade. For example, every 80s cartoon does not need to become a computer-animated fiasco featuring music from some soon-to-be-forgotten pop star. I do not need to see images from my childhood shaking their computer-animated butts to a Fergie song. I definitely don't need to see it in 3D, thanks. These movies never do well at the box office. They never do well critically. Why do you keep making them? Either you enjoy losing money or you enjoy destroying nostalgia one animated Smurf at a time. Which is it? By the way, Neil Patrick Harris, you're in the Smurfs movie? You? Why? Why? You are better than that, Neil, and you know it. Okay, I have to go because my time is almost up, but in summary, Hollywood, stop. Right now. I'm not kidding. Stop. Spend all of that money on more Star Trek movies, or a Firefly movie. Another one would be great. It's your call, but stop with the Smurf crap. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and today I took an aerial silks class. You know what aerial silks are. They use them at Cirque du Soleil. Pink spun around on one for a Grammy performance a few years ago. Link to that somewhere on your screen. Well, as anyone who has been watching my videos for more than like a month knows, I have this deep and overwhelming desire to be a part of a circus. But alas, since I am not of the circus, I have to make do with circus-type classes, like my hula hooping class, or the juggling that I do, or that one circus class I went to where I broke my foot, you remember? Link to that somewhere on your screen. But anyway, I decided that if Pink can do aerial silks, then I can do aerial silks. So I signed myself up for a class via the Sky Gym, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's this aerial silks gym in Atlanta. And today I went there and I took my class, and I forgot my camera, by the way, so all the footage is on an iPhone, I'm sorry. The class itself was relatively smallish, and the woman that taught it, Amber, was ripped. And I mean like ripped. As in when she was all like wrapped up in the fabric, you could see her ab muscles through the fabric. These were ab muscles that I actually had never seen before. I didn't know the human body had those muscles. I'm still not convinced I have those muscles. They were very baffling to me and very impressive. Amber was not only ripped, she was also really nice and really friendly, and clearly had put a lot of thought into teaching this class. And you know what? I was not bad, exactly. I was more like not that great. I mean, I wasn't terrible, you know, for my first class. I hope it wasn't that bad. It's just when you're watching Amber and the other instructor, whose name was Marilyn and who reminded me of a sprite in all of the best ways, are doing these crazy, beautiful, like elongated leans and splits and fancy flips through the air, and you're doing this. Well, it's just hard not to notice that you kind of pale in comparison. But hey, I didn't hang myself, which was my primary concern, so you know, I think that's not half bad. It was genuinely a really fun class though. I think I'm going to go take some more and try to learn really cool tricks instead of, you know, looking like I'm being eaten by a giant orange cocoon. And maybe I'll end up with those crazy muscles that Amber had, you know? Yeah? Maybe? No, I like candy way too much for that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about The Little Mermaid. So Fathomless, the third book in my fairy tale series and a companion book to Sisters Red and Sweetly, is a retelling of The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen. That's right, by Hans Christian Andersen, not by Disney. See, I was sort of dismayed to discover recently that lots of people think Disney wrote The Little Mermaid, that was an original Disney story, when that is not the case at all. In fact, none of the Disney princess movies are original fairy tales, although I will admit that sometimes Disney has taken such liberties with the source material that they might as well be. The original version of The Little Mermaid was published in 1837 by Danish author Hans Christian Andersen. In that story, the Little Mermaid lives underwater with her father, the Sea King, her sisters, and her grandmother. When each of the mermaids turns 15, she's allowed to go to the surface and look at the human world. The Little Mermaid cannot wait until she turns 15 and she gets to do this because I guess she thinks we are much, much cooler than we actually are. When she finally turns 15 and goes to the surface, she sees this really handsome prince on a boat. But then a storm comes and knocks him off the boat and he almost drowns and the Little Mermaid has to save him. This is the point, by the way, where Disney's version takes a relatively steep departure from the original. So anyway, the Little Mermaid saves the prince, she takes him to shore, and then she leaves him there and waits until she sees a girl from a nearby temple come down and find him. The prince never sees the Little Mermaid, and therefore he assumes the girl from the temple saved him. Then the Little Mermaid gets kind of emo, and she goes to talk to her grandmother about humans. The grandmother informs the Little Mermaid that humans don't live very long, but they have an immortal soul which will go on forever, whereas mermaids live about 300 years, but when they die they turn into sea foam and cease to exist. All that talk of souls makes the Little Mermaid even more emo, so she decides to go see the Sea Witch. The Sea Witch gives the Little Mermaid a potion that will give her legs in exchange for the Little Mermaid's tongue. The catch is, the potion is going to hurt like hell when she drinks it, and then even though it will give her legs, whenever she walks around it's going to feel like knives are boring into her feet. An even bigger catch is the fact that if she drinks this potion, she can never go back to being a mermaid again, ever. If she can't get the prince to love and marry her, then the morning after he marries somebody else, she will just turn into sea foam and cease to exist. But if she can get the prince to love her and marry her, then not only will she get to stay human, but part of the prince's soul will flow into her, and then, yay, she's got a soul too, bonus. So she drinks the potion, goes ashore, and meets the prince. The prince thinks she's pretty great, despite the fact that she can't talk, what with the tongue being gone and all. And the Little Mermaid is pretty enamored with the prince too, so much so that she dances for him, even though, the whole knife in the feet thing, so it hurts really bad. All is going pretty well until the prince's father announces that the prince is gonna have to marry the princess of a neighboring kingdom. The prince tells the Little Mermaid that it's totally not going to happen because he is in love with the girl from the temple who he thinks saved him. The Little Mermaid is pretty bummed about that, and then, to sort of add insult to injury, it turns out the girl from the temple is the princess from the neighboring kingdom, and she was just going to the temple to be educated. The prince is pretty excited about this fortunate turn of events, and so the wedding is announced. This makes the Little Mermaid sad because, now she's gonna die and dissolve into sea foam all for nothing. Luckily, the night of the wedding, the Little Mermaid's sisters show up with this knife that they got from the Sea Witch in exchange for their hair. All she has to do is stab the prince and let his blood drip on her feet, and she'll turn back into a mermaid again. So the Little Mermaid creeps into the prince's bedroom, ready to stab him. And then she can't do it. She just can't do it. Distraught, the Little Mermaid throws herself into the sea, ready to become sea foam. And that's the end. Well, that's kind of the end. That was Anderson's original ending, but later he added this sort of epilogue that he claims was supposed to be the original ending all along, but either way, here you go. When the Little Mermaid throws herself into the sea and dissolves, she doesn't cease to exist, but she sort of goes up into the air and becomes a daughter of the air. The other daughters of the air tell her all she has to do is spend a while doing good deeds for humans and she'll earn her own soul and eventually get to go to heaven. She never gets the prince though, because in the original story, the prince loved someone else. There was no trick, there was no octopus lady, the prince just wasn't in love with the Little Mermaid, he was in love with the girl from the temple. That's actually what really drew me to this story, the fact that it wasn't the prince's fault, he just loved somebody else. And then this temple girl who never really gets her own story, and I love this theme of unrequited love, it's just so dark and dramatic and beautiful. So many fairy tales have these nice little packaged happily ever afters, and this one doesn't, and I find that kind of exciting. Now, I do love Disney's The Little Mermaid. It's one of my favorite movies. The songs are incredible. I spent much of my childhood trying to make my hair do that thing that Ariel's does, That and getting really low in pools and then bursting out and making my hair come back like hers does in that scene, I was a cool kid. It doesn't bother me that Disney strayed so far from the original fairy tale. It really doesn't. What bothers me is people don't know there is an original fairy tale. And while the Disney one is great, the original is beautiful and moving and amazing in its own right. There is room for both in this world. So now you know about it, go forth and inform others so people stop thinking this was an original Disney creation, please. Alright, thank you for watching and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce and I'm outside. I know it's weird. Also, it's thundering and it's making me very, very nervous. And there's this bird that won't stop doing that. Anyway, so if you didn't know, I have been involved in the color guard activity since about 1998. This year I finally retired from coaching and it is band camp time, and so I'm having serious color guard withdrawal issues. So to help me get over those withdrawal issues, I thought today I would teach you how to do some basic flag moves. Now before I do this, if you are on a color guard at another school and you do things differently than I do, you are not doing them wrong. I am not doing them wrong. Different schools have different ways of teaching things and doing things, okay? So let's just Let's just go with that. All right, so for this video, you will need a flag. If you don't have a flag, a broom will work. Just, you know, stand away from your mother's fine china. Or you could get a flag by going and joining your school's color guard. Yeah, there we go, advertising. All right, anyway, so the very first move I'm going to teach was a drop spin. All right, so we're gonna start doing this on the right side. To do that, you're gonna go to something called right shoulder. You're gonna take your left hand and put it on the bottom of your flag, the bottom stopper, and your right hand and put it on the tab of your flag, which is where the silk meets the pole. And now you're gonna put it right in front of your face, like this. You're gonna push out a little bit so it's away from your body. And you're gonna stand strong with your shoulders out because you are proud, because you are holding a flag and you can beat somebody up with this. So look strong. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're gonna do some camera maneuvering now, so you're gonna be looking at me as if I was standing this way, okay? So that's the direction my hands are in. Here we go. All right, now I'm rolling my flag up so you can see my hands better. You do not need to do this. All right, so here we go. So you're holding your flag like this at the tab and you look strong. And now you're gonna take your left hand off the flagpole. With your right hand, you're gonna turn the flag so that the silk is facing down. Then you're gonna put your left hand back on the flag with your thumb also facing down. So both thumbs are down. Next step, you're gonna take your right hand off the flagpole. With your left hand, you're gonna continue up. And then you're gonna re-grab the flag again with your right hand so both thumbs are facing up. So it's always thumbs down, thumbs up. Anyway, you wanna make sure you're always grabbing the flag when it's straight up and down. Never when it's at an angle like this, because then you'll lose track of where down and up are, which sounds stupid, but I promise you it happened. So if we were doing that a little bit faster, it would look like this. Down, up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. But maybe you've done color guard before and this is all old news and you're not excited by learning to do a drop spin. If that is the case, I'm going to teach you how to do a 45 toss. Now 45s are done a lot of different ways. This is the way I've always taught them. This is the way I prefer to do them. Again, if your school does it different, that's fine. Don't freak out on me. All right, so if you've done this before, you're gonna go to this shoulder hip angle, your left hand here, your right hand here on the tab. You're gonna look strong. And what I want you to imagine is that there's a beach ball in front of you, a giant U-sized beach ball. You're gonna take the tip of your flag and you're gonna go up and over the beach ball to this position. You'll notice that when I go up and over that beach ball, the bottom third of my flag is going behind my head and I'm ending in this shape that I like to call the unicorn. So this is the point at which you're going to release the 45. When you release a 45, all you're gonna do is pretend that you have 2 handfuls of confetti that you're throwing in the air, just up, 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 up. Both hands let go of the flag at once. Here, beach ball, unicorn. Here, beach ball, unicorn. Here, out, catch. The trick to 45s is that remembering no matter how you're releasing them, you're gonna go to that unicorn position. So if it's one-handed, two-handed, it doesn't really matter. You're always gonna hit that unicorn. The other key to 45s is making sure that both hands are putting equal amounts of pressure on the flag, because if your right hand puts more pressure on the flag, it's gonna go like, ah, over into my neighbor's yard. Color guard! I miss it. All right, thank you guys for watching and I will see you tomorrow. Color guard, color guard. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just showing off because I love it so much. I'm Jackson Pierce and today's video is about Wesley Scroggins. Again, I cannot believe that I have 2 videos on my channel about Wesley Scroggins. So Wesley Scroggins is this guy who lives in Missouri. He complained to the school board because some books in the school's library contradicted the lessons taught in the Bible. The 3 specific books he found to be Bible contradictory were Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson, Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and 20 Boy Summer by Sarah Oakler. On Monday, after a year of debate and discussion and task force forming, the school board voted. They decided Speak could stay, but that 20 Boy Summer and Slaughterhouse-Five had to go. Now, I am actually not really mad at Wesley Scroggins. He's just some dude. Some crazy guy who thinks he knows best what everybody needs. If we all had $1 for every lunatic in the world who thought they knew what everybody else needed, we would all be like on yachts right now. There are thousands more where he came from, but luckily we have institutions like school boards in place to weed out that brand of crazy. Or that is what they're supposed to do, anyway. Instead, the Republic School Board yelled "How high" when Scroggins yelled "Jump." So I am really mad and really disappointed in the Republic School Board. I think they've done their students an incredible disservice, and so I have some questions for them I'd like to share. Question 1, Mr. Scroggins' primary concern was that some books taught a lesson contradictory to the lessons taught in the Bible. Now, putting aside the fact that religious texts are not supposed to dictate anything in a public school, is the Bible now the standard to which we hold all books? If a book contradicts the Bible, does that mean it automatically is potentially unworthy and there's going to have to be a task force and discussions and meetings to decide if it belongs in the school? So I imagine, Republic School Board, you'll be discussing Diary of Anne Frank sometime soon. And Dante's Inferno, surely you're going to spend some time and tax dollars on that as well. Question number 2. In the article that I've put somewhere below me, the school superintendent, Mr. Vern Miner, says that they looked at these books from a curriculum point of view. So Mr. Miner, all books in your library now, they are 100% about the curriculum, not about reading for pleasure. Because I imagine that means that all books not specifically taught in the classroom are going to be removed from your library. Question 2A, is the school system's policy now to promote reading the same way it promotes homework? As something that must be done. As something that must be done for the curriculum, as opposed to something that can be done for enjoyment and fulfillment outside the classroom. Question 3. The school board created a task force to develop book standards for all schools in the system. I don't know how many students were on the task force. I did not get the impression there were any. When you were in high school, school board, did you want adults and guidance counselors and teachers selecting your clothes and your hair and your shoes for you? Probably not. And if they had selected all of those things for you, you probably would have detested their choices no matter how good they were. Apply that logic to books, please, and then, get back with me. Question number 4. Mr. Miner, you say that you kept this removal of books away from moral issues, yet the very reason you removed them was moral issues. 20 Boy Summer contained questionable language, lying to parents. Those are moral issues. So the school system is now dictating the morality of all students? And that aside, aren't those moral issues that teens deal with? Aren't they moral issues that adults deal with? Do you really think that removing those books will therefore remove the issues? Question 4A, are you kidding me? And question number 5, this question is both for Mr. Scroggins and for the school board. You say that 20 Boy Summer was removed due to drunkenness, lying to parents, sexual promiscuity, and lack of remorse, and that Slaughterhouse-Five was removed for adult themes. But the Bible actually has all that stuff in it too, so I assume that's out as well, Mr. Scroggins. If that's the kind of stuff we don't want our kids getting their hands on, then it's gotta be out too, it's only fair. These are just some questions that I have because I'm really disappointed in the school board. You're supposed to be defending these students against that kind of crazy and helping them and fostering a love for learning and reading, and instead you're totally Scrogginsing them. I do not understand why people still think that taking books out of the hands of teenagers is ever a good decision. So yeah, and this video was kind of a downer, so we're gonna end it with footage I took of the Westies this weekend while I was staying with my parents. They're good times. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about celebrity hospitality writers. So a celebrity hospitality writer is this list of demands that a celebrity has when visiting a venue. That list is actually part of their contract, so if their demands aren't met, they can turn around and go home. For example, Paul McCartney requests that his dressing room have 24 bars of Ivory soap in it. I guess in case he wants to take 24 showers. MIA requests a variety of cheeses in her dressing room. Mariah Carey wants a box of Bendy straws and an assortment of stuffed lamb toys. And Katy Perry stipulates that floral arrangements in her room can absolutely not contain carnations under any circumstances. Now, celebrities make all these demands because they can. They're famous, and if they want fancy cheese and an assortment of stuffed lamb toys, they can get it. I mean, let's face it, some of the stuff is really practical. Coldplay, for example, requests 8 pre-stamped postcards so they can write to their families back home, and I don't really think it's crazy to request certain types of food so you're not stuck eating at the closest fast food joint. But some of the stuff is just really weird and nitpicky. Like Jennifer Lopez, she requires the furniture, the floor, the walls, the drapes, everything has to be white. Why? I don't know, I guess she just really likes white. All this celebrity writer stuff became fairly well known when in 1982 Van Halen created a hospitality writer that requested a giant bowl of M&Ms, but stipulated that the bowl could contain absolutely no brown M&Ms. Which meant before they arrived at a venue, some poor intern probably had to go through the giant bowl and pick out all of the brown M&Ms one at a time because, at the time you couldn't order custom M&Ms in bulk. The reason they did this, though, actually, was not because they were trying to be difficult or divas or rock stars, it was for safety reasons. Van Halen's concert that year required all sorts of pyrotechnics and crazy lighting and security needs that were all in the contract as well. If they showed up somewhere and there were brown M&Ms in the bowl, then they would know the venue hadn't read the contract very carefully, so they would go and double check the pyrotechnics, the lighting, the security, the sound, to make sure everything was working right and was safe. I often wonder if I were super famous if I would have demands. I mean, when I do book-related things and they ask me if I have meal requests, I do say that I prefer Diet Coke to Diet Pepsi. Is that a demand? Am I a diva? I think my other request would be like Twizzlers and ice cream and free Wi-Fi. I'm really easy to please. Candy, computers, and Diet Coke. Anyway, would you have any crazy celebrity writer demands? What would they be? Please let me know in the comments. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about laser printers. So if you didn't know, I am a big fan of laser printers, so much so that I made like a little music video about laser printers, linked somewhere on your screen. However, one thing that really annoys me about laser printers, and kind of printers in general, is toner and ink cost like $1 million. And I go through a lot of toner and ink when I'm printing like 300+ page manuscripts on a regular basis. So this video is about how to get the most out of your laser printer toner. It's a more exciting video than it sounds. I think. It's not really, actually. Let's say you've got a file and you're printing it and you're going along, things are going smoothly, and all of a sudden you get this little warning that says the printer is low on toner. And you're thinking, well, I don't care, even if it's light gray, I can read it. So continue printing, please. And the computer says, no, I will not continue printing. I refuse to print until my toner needs are met. So even though you know there is probably enough toner in there to make it through at least a few more pages, the computer refuses to print. The computer is a diva, is what I'm getting at. This is how you undiva your computer, how you trick it into thinking there is plenty of toner. So you take your laser printer cartridge, which looks something like this. You'll notice somewhere on the cartridge there will be some clear plastic. So the toner is all in this thing, and the way the printer tells the computer it's low on toner is a little light is beamed through one side of this clear thing, and if it comes out the other side of the clear thing, that means it's low on toner. All you have to do to trick the printer is cover up that clear thing, like so. Little tiny piece of tape goes right over that thing right there. And now, when the light shines through, it's gonna be like, hey, there's darkness over there. That means there's plenty of toner left. I am not kidding when I say I was able to print probably another 1,000 pages doing this trick after the computer told me there was not enough toner. So if you've got a laser printer, you can't mess it up. Just find a clear thing and stick some tape over it and see what happens. Yeah, take that, laser printer companies. Need your toner. Oh, I got ink all over me. Anyway, I'm sorry this video isn't more in depth. I am in the middle of crazy deadlines right now, and so I am writing like a maniac. I have a short story due tomorrow, I have page passes for Purity due tomorrow, and I'm still working on the work in progress, so it's madness. If you are also writing a book right now, by the way, remember on Twitter to use the hashtag writing party, and you can join all of us in our, writing woes and celebration and candy eating and whatnot. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Jackson Pierce, and it is 2 in the morning, and I realized at about midnight that I had forgotten to do today's video, so I am exhausted, and I'm kind of cheating, and I'm answering Twitter questions. Question 1, why do you like writing multiple narrators? I guess I like writing from multiple points of view because it allows you to understand the plot from different angles. A character might be right in her opinion, but wrong in somebody else's opinion, and having multiple narrators allows you to really explore who your heroes and who your villains are. Number 2, have you ever written fan fiction? I have not, actually, and it's not that I have anything against fan fiction, that's just not really my thing writing-wise. Number 3, what is your win percentage of solitaire on your computer? I have actually never opened solitaire on this computer, to be honest. I have a super addictive kind of personality, and I'm afraid that if I start playing it, I will never stop playing it and never write another book or leave my house again. Question 4, we're on question 4. How do you like your eggs? I actually like my eggs over easy, but my favorite thing to do is get a cup and hollow out like the middle of a piece of bread, and then you put the bread in the frying pan, and then you put the egg in the bread, and it makes like a little... They do it in V for Vendetta. You should watch the movie. It's exactly like that. It's delicious. Question number 5, why do people feel the need to wear sweaters all the time in 90s movies, even when it's hot outside? I am really not quite sure. I never liked sweaters, but I will say one of my close friends had a New Kids on the Block sweater, so... The 90s were just not really a good decade for clothes, you know? I mean, first it was sweaters, and then it was those plaid long sleeve shirts that everyone tied around their waist. It wasn't cute. Number 6, when will the cover of Purity be released? I have no idea, not even the tiniest clue, I'm sorry. And number 7, what is your favorite thing to do during the summer? My favorite thing to do during the summer is wear dresses, which is kind of a lame answer because I know you meant like outdoor activities, but one thing I do love about the summer is I can wear like a million different sundresses. This is not because I actually like to dress up. What I like about dresses is when you go to the store and you buy a dress, you're buying a whole outfit. You don't really have to think very hard about it. And then in the morning when you wake up, you put on like one article of clothing and you're done. So really, I like dresses and I like the summer because I am lazy, is what it comes down to. All right, I'm gonna go to bed now because I am extremely tired, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about my favorite 90s TV show. Now, I know 90s TV shows kind of had a bad rap because there's a lot of like, Friends Forever type shows, and those are kind of, eh. But there were a lot of genuinely good TV shows on in the 90s. A really good example is Roundhouse, which was kind of like a teen version of SNL. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was this awesome TV show about these kids who got together around a campfire every night. They were called the Midnight Society. They gathered around the campfire and they told ghost stories, and they were like genuinely scary ghost stories sometimes. If you were a child of the 90s, you know exactly who Zeebo the Clown is. I'm not even really afraid of clowns, but Zeebo the Clown was like terrifying. But one of my guilty pleasure 90s shows was always this sort of Western that was on Nickelodeon. It was called Hey Dude, and it was about these kids who worked on a dude ranch during the summer. The writing wasn't very good, and there was a lot of like 90s clothing and, hair, but it was still a great show. But the best thing about the show was the theme song. So great, in fact, that I have to share it with you. I can't, I've got to.
It's a little wild and a little strange when you make your home out on the range. Start your horse and come along, but you can't get it right if you can't hold on. Singing yippee-ki-yay,
Yippee-ki-yay, what?
like the cowboys sing.
Sing it again now.
Yippee-ki-yay,
Get along, little donkeys.
till the break of day.
Better watch out for those man-eating jackrabbits and that killer cacti. Hey, dude.
I'm Jackson Pierce, and this is it, day 31 of 31 days of vlogging. And yet vlogging still sounds like snogging to me. I am sad that it is ending, yet I am also a tiny bit relieved because, as evidenced by yesterday's 90s TV montage, I am sort of, running out of topics. Anyway, I really like doing these videos, and I will say it was substantially easier this time than when I did 30 days of vlogging last October. Vlogging, snogging, they go together. If snogging is kissing, then I feel like vlogging would be like, never mind. But the fact that it went a lot faster this time is very good because I have a book due right now, and then my third book, Sweetly, comes out August 23rd, just saying, by the way, there's a pre-order link somewhere below. August 23rd, that's in 24 days. Anyway, the one thing that always kind of strikes me when I do these marathon vlogging sprints is the YouTube community. Because I am not famous. I mean, I have subscribers, yeah, but let's face it, I'm no community channel. And yet YouTube provides this amazing platform for people to talk and comment and have conversations about important things and non-important things, and it's fantastic. I really like Facebook and Twitter, but I feel like YouTube is even better because it's like you're in a room with all of these other people and you're all conversing and you can see one another and have these conversations in real time and make responses, and it's all just much more, there. Starting on August 9th, I'll be doing videos every Tuesday and Friday with occasionally maybe another video somewhere during the week. So please stay subscribed because there are more antics in the future, and if you have a specific antic you would like to see, then shoot me an email, let me know. So yeah, subscribe, pre-order link below, shameless self-promotion. Oh, also remember that there are live shows every Wednesday night, link to that somewhere below as well. And you know what, while I'm at it, there's a link somewhere down there for a video about some sloths, and that one's just for you, enjoy it. I'm going to go. Thank you guys so much for watching for the past 31 days. I hope it was fun. I hope it was entertaining, and I will see you in a week on Tuesday. Bye. I'm Jackson Pierce, and today while I was working out, I got an email from my building's concierge that I had received a package. Now the thing is, I receive a lot of packages because I order a lot of things offline because I don't so much like going to stores. So sometimes when I'm expecting something really exciting, I rush home and I'm so excited and I open up the package and it is some menial item that I ordered off Amazon. Like a few days ago, I thought that maybe Sweetly final copies had come in, and I hurried home as fast as I could go and found an olive oil mister. When I was waiting for page passes of Sweetly, I hurried home as fast as I could go and found a hamburger press shaper. Should really stop ordering so much menial stuff is what it comes down to. But today when I rushed home and got the package, I realized it was from my publisher, which means there are probably final copies of Sweetly in this package. So I am going to open it on camera for you. All right, you ready? Here we go. Dun, dun. Ta-da! I'm glad it actually was a real copy of Sweetly, otherwise that build-up would have been quite boring. It's hard to open things in the air. Are you ready? Ta-da! I got package in my eye. It looks so good. I'm so excited. Here's the back. And the front. And they did the matte and gloss thing like it is on Sisters Red. You can see like it's shiny and then, yeah. Ooh, purple. Ah! The gray makes me really happy. Okay. And then the back, that's me. That's me with my, oh my God, this is my third book. I feel like my first book just came out, like yesterday it just came out, which I know is a really trite thing to say, but nonetheless. Oh, and they sent me candy because it's a book about candy making. These are Godiva Bakery Dessert Truffles and nutritional information. That's funny that they think I would want that. Oh my God, open. Oh my gosh, the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. I didn't know I can do this and put that in the pan. No, I can do is just hit them. Look at them. They're book sisters. They go so well together. And then we could do this. So anyway, I'm gonna go eat more of my candy and look at my pretty book. Again, it comes out on August 23rd, so I would really appreciate it if you pre-ordered or if you bought it the week it comes out. That would be outstanding, and I would be very happy. And thanks for watching. I will see you on the 9th. I was supposed to wait till the 9th to do a new video, but I got excited. Okay, bye. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about what it's like to be a writer. So I have 2 books that are already available on shelves, and I have a 3rd book that comes out in 14 days, not that I'm counting. Please buy it. I have a 4th and 5th book coming out next year, and so I feel like I'm finally in a place where I can really sort of discuss the pros and cons of this particular career. First, the pros. Overall, being a writer is awesome. Like seriously, it really kicks ass. But it mostly kicks ass because this is the only thing that I have ever wanted to do. I wanted to be a vet for a very short period of time, but then my grandmother told me that sometimes I would have to put animals to sleep, and so that was like out the window, and it was, you know, writer, full speed ahead. I feel like this is what I was born to do. I even kind of feel like this is pretty much the only thing I'm good at. I love writing, I love having written, I love sharing the things that I have written with the world. I like working from home, I like the quasi-flexibility of my schedule, I like having a creative outlet. I love getting paid to do something that I would probably do even if I wasn't getting paid. I love talking to other writers, I love visiting other writers. I feel like some of my closest friends are other writers that I would not have met if I hadn't chosen this profession. And of course, getting emails and letters and things from readers who love my books is still one of the best feelings in the entire world. I mean, there are a few cons, they exist, you know? In the same way the person you're madly in love with can have cons, like, you know, he leaves his shoes on the floor or snores, the career that you're madly in love with can have cons. Sometimes it is frustrating as an author to have people feel like they own a part of me. And I guess they kind of do. I mean, they did buy part of me for $17.99, but still. I get emails and tweets demanding free books or swag or attention, and I give what I can, but sometimes the amount I have to give is not as great as the amount demanded. Seeing my book downloaded illegally continues to frustrate and depress me, and really negative, mean reviews, they sting. It's also frustrating when people assume that I'm rich, because I am not. My bank account is currently in the triple digits, which will change, of course, when another contract or payment goes through, but pretty much if you're a full-time writer and you're not a huge seller, then you're gonna be living paycheck to paycheck, which can be very, very stressful. Even working from home can be really frustrating because sometimes people assume working from home means not working and want to know why you can't hang out all the time. Before I was a full-time author, I worked at a software testing company. We tested cable billing software for companies like the Playboy channel, which means I get to say things like, I used to work in porn, but not like that. It was a really wonderful company to work for. You know, the people were nice, you could kind of wander in whenever you wanted. We had beer on Fridays. And I hated my job. I actually cried when I got home on the first day of training because it wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't how I wanted to spend my life. I wanted to be an author, not a software tester. I felt like I was trapped in someone else's career or someone else's life. That's kind of what I think is the difference between a job and a career. Sometimes being an author can suck. Sometimes it's sad. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I have to call the cell phone company and swear that the payment really will be there at the end of the month if they could just wait a little bit longer. But I never feel like I am stuck in someone else's life, which makes this, for me, the best job in the entire world. It definitely beats working in porn. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again on Friday. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about the Library of Alexandria. Now, before I begin this video, the history of the Library of Alexandria has been kind of muddied with a lot of theories and stories and myths. So this is what I know, but I am not a historian, so please do not use this video to write your history class paper. Alright, so anyway, the Library of Alexandria was this amazing library that existed in ancient Egypt. It was opened somewhere around 285 BC and was pretty much awesome. It was organized by one of Aristotle's students, and it had gardens and meeting rooms and dining halls and lecture halls. It was actually a lot like a college campus, only, a really cool ancient college campus. It even had an acquisitions department and a cataloging department, and the rumor is that above the shelves was written the phrase, "the place of the cure of the soul." Now, books at the time didn't exist like the ones on the shelf behind me. Everything was written down on papyrus scrolls. And the Library of Alexandria was one of the very first libraries to make a genuine effort to collect these scrolls from all over the world. Not only did they have scouts who went to other parts of the world to collect books, but they also required that any visitors to Alexandria turn over any books they had so that they could be copied down and added to the library. Some sources say the library actually insisted on keeping the original version and would give the visitor back the copy, like some kind of sneaky Xerox machine. Anyway, so the library was constantly growing, just getting huge, and since no index of the library remains, we have no idea exactly how huge it was. But we do know that there were a lot of books there, and that it was awesome, and that it was impressive. Until some bad things happened, because you see, at the time, Egypt was ruled by Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy, who did not get along. Ptolemy was trying to oust Cleopatra and rule all by himself. That didn't really sit so well with Rome, who was kind of in charge of making sure things ran smoothly in Egypt on the political front. So seeing that Ptolemy was getting all power hungry, Rome sent an army down to Egypt to regulate, led by none other than Julius Caesar. Ptolemy and Caesar got in a fight, and Caesar lit all of Ptolemy's warships on fire. And the fire spread, and the docks caught on fire, and then some of the buildings caught on fire, and I think you know where this is headed. The library caught on fire, and as it turns out, papyrus scrolls are not flame retardant. Now, there is some debate over how much of the library was actually destroyed by Caesar's fire. Some people say that most of it remained and was later destroyed by riots and religious warfare. But either way, the point is, no more library. Though in 2004, a Polish and Egyptian team discovered what they think is the remains of the building, but there were no scrolls. Lost forever, very sad. So there we go, and once again, there are a lot of varied opinions on the library and what it contained and how it was destroyed and who started it, so I really encourage you to look that kind of stuff up if you're interested. Also, if you're interested, I have done a secret video on Cleopatra's little sister Arsinoe, which there's a link to somewhere on your screen, yeah. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again on Tuesday. I'm Jackson Pearce, and in today's video I'm going to be answering questions from Twitter. I would like to say that this is because I'm a really, good, involved person, and I just wanna answer Twitter's questions, but that is not the case. I'm doing this because Twitter question videos tend to go a little bit faster, and I have a million things to do right now. I have to finish my draft of Fathomless and get it to my editor by September 1st. Sweetly releases in 6 days, and I have a million things to do for that, including stamping and addressing all of these purple envelopes to people so I can give them my invitations. I've only done this many because I ran out of stamps, so. I've also got to go to the post office. Let's add that to the list. But I promised videos, and so videos you will get, I will actually check Twitter, and I'm going to be answering questions as they come in on my phone. Pink Daddy's Girl asks, if you could afford a hedgehog, would you keep one as a pet? No, I would not, because I do not really like to clean out cages, and hedgehogs sort of live in a cage. I have had cage pets in the past. I had a bird once. He was really mean. And then after the bird, I had a ferret, who was actually a really, really cool pet. They're awesome. They smell terrible, but they're awesome pets. They're really friendly little weird animals. Yeah, but one thing I realized from having that pet ferret is I do not like having a pet that lives in a cage because I do not want to clean the cage. Steph Andrea asks, what is your favorite writing snack? It is usually Twizzlers Pull and Peel, which is good because somebody was nice enough to send me 10 bags of Twizzler Pull and Peels, and it's awesome. But since I can't really eat all 10 of those bags of Twizzler Pull and Peels while I write this book because I will need an entirely new wardrobe for my expanding waistline, I have been mostly eating a lot of fruit. And after I have some fruit, I'm allowed to have Twizzlers. Or before, sometimes, Or in between bites of the fruit. I really like Twizzlers. Kitty Summer asks, what is your favorite book on the shelf behind you, or knick-knack? Knick-knack. It is this dragon. Actually, I have a lot of knickknacks up there I like, but I do really like this dragon. It was part of a play set that I had when I was younger. And there was a castle with a princess and a king and all this cool stuff, but I always really liked the dragon best. And it's pink, no less. I have no idea where the castle is now, but I still have the dragon. I'm Soft asks, what was your favorite book that you had to read in high school? Hands down, Fahrenheit 451, easy, no question. Artist Girl 12 asks, what is your biggest phobia? I actually don't really have any phobias. I mean, there are things that I find unpleasant, like I do not like roaches, but I wouldn't say I have a phobia of roaches. I guess right now I have kind of a phobia of not finishing this draft and all the things that need to get done. I even asked my sister today how much I would need to pay her to go through and update my address list so I could, you know, put the addresses on the envelopes correctly and everything, and she was like, that sounds horrible. There is no price you could pay me to do that. And she's right, it would be horrible. I was just hoping I could, you know, persuade her with money or cookies or something. All right, I am going to go because there are still a million things to do and it is already past midnight and I'm starting to kind of freak out a little bit. Farewell. That was a stupid dragon voice. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm Jackson Pearce and I've done something really stupid. You see, I ordered 250 invitations to the Sweetly Release party, which is not invitation only. I just like to send out invitations, you know, to my friends and family to let them know the book is coming out. I also ordered 250 purple envelopes in which to put the invitations. The invitations are 6x9. The envelope is 6x9. And since they are the exact same size, the invitation does not fit in the envelope. It just like doesn't like, no, it doesn't fit. Why would you sell an envelope that doesn't hold a 6x9 card? Are there a lot of cards out there that are like 5.99 inches by 8.99 inches? And this is the same envelope company I ordered red envelopes for Sisters Red from last year. I called and they informed me that there is an envelope description industry standard. That when you say 6x9, that means the envelope is actually 6x9. Apparently previously when they said 6x9, they meant an envelope which will hold a 6x9 card, and people were really upset about that. I guess all those people with those 5.99 by 8.99 cards were really angry. So in the spring, they changed their website and I unknowingly ordered an envelope that is exactly 6x9. I'm at my parents' office right now because the only way to remedy this problem is to take this envelope opener, take a card, and run it through the envelope opener. It shaves off a tiny, tiny bit and then it fits in the envelope. I do not have time to do this. And so I thought I would bring my camera and film it and maybe talk to you instead of talking to myself, which is kind of what I'm doing since you're not here with me and my envelopes. If I were making a list of things that suck, this would be very high on that list. Hi there, Jackson Pearce again, trying to get over in traffic slowly. So I'm in traffic, it's rush hour, trying to get home, and I was sitting in my car, as one does when one is in traffic. And see, last night when I was looking at the invitation to the release party, I kept thinking something is wrong with this, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Like, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on. But I knew something wasn't right, but I reasoned I was just tired or something, so, you know, I wrote it off and I went to bed. I just dropped off all 190 invitations at the post office. They are currently in the mail. And as I was sitting in traffic, I thought, I really feel like something's weird about that invitation. I should look at it again. And so right now, as I'm in traffic, I looked at the invitation. Now tell me what the problem is. I proofed this invitation, the designer proofed the invitation, the printer proofed the invitation, and none of us caught the fact that it says the event is in 2012. What am I supposed to do with all of the ones that are left? You know, I mean, I was gonna give more out and like post them places, but now I'm embarrassed. See, when anybody makes a mistake like this, it's embarrassing, okay? I get that. But like, when you're a professional writer and you're supposed to pay attention, I mean, it's funny. Of course it's funny. Like, I know it's funny. It's hilarious, actually. In fact, every time I tell somebody, I do laugh about it. But it's also, it sucks. And now I am at a light and people are stopping at the flashing yellow light because they haven't watched my video, I guess. And now I'm gonna have to stop because if I were to go, the other people would hit me because they don't understand. And see, now we've got this system. Exactly, the bus driver knows what we're supposed to be doing here. Thank you, bus driver. But okay, all right. I need to. I know where I need to go. I know exactly where I need to go right now. Ah, yes. Here we are.
Unfortunately, the only...
Excellent choice. I'm Jackson Pearce, and it is Tuesday, August 23rd, which means my third book, Sweetly, is officially released in the US. This is very exciting, not only because it is always exciting to have a book release, but because there was very genuinely a time that I never thought this book would be done. Of everything I had written up till that point, this is the one that took the most revision, the most work, the most complete reimagining in some aspects. And so I'm especially proud to finally see this book out in the world. I have several traditions on book release days. The main two are that I eat a lot of ice cream and that I go get a massage. But then last year I did this thing on Twitter where anybody using the hashtag #SistersRead for the entire release day could potentially win prizes. I ended up giving away over 100 prizes. My post office bill was quite expansive. But it was a lot of fun, and we actually got Sisters Read trending in Canada for a little while, and it was just really, really cool. This year I am doing the same thing, so starting at 8 a.m. today, August 23rd, tweet with the hashtag Sweetly, and over the course of the day I'll be randomly drawing people to give really awesome prizes to. Prizes include foreign editions, hardbacks, arcs, paperbacks, some swag, some candy, some mystery arcs, some of which are signed. It's good stuff, and it is really, really easy. You can tweet as many times as you want. You can tweet about things that have nothing to do with Sweetly. All you have to do is use the hashtag Sweetly, and each time you tweet is basically an entry to win. I have some other Sweetly related announcements. The Kindle edition of Sweetly has some bonus material at the end. It's an interview between Rosie from Sisters Read and Gretchen from Sweetly. And also a reminder, the Sweetly release party is this Thursday, August 25th at Barnes & Noble in Alpharetta, Georgia. If you can't come to the party because you live a million miles away, or you're busy at yoga class that night, or whatever it is you're doing, you can call the bookstore ahead of time and they will set aside a book for you for me to sign, and I can personalize it to you and everything, and they will ship it to you. This is probably the easiest way to get a signed book from me if you are not going to see me in person anytime soon. Also, I just want to remind everybody that the best thing you could do to help an author and support an author is to buy his or her book the week it is released. That surge in sales in that first week really, really helps us out. So if you are going to buy Sweetly, I would really appreciate it if you did it this week. But if you gotta buy it later, that's okay too. I'd rather you buy it, period. I'm just saying, if you could buy it this week instead of on Monday, that would just be awesome. So, I'm looking at the freezer right now because I already bought my ice cream for tomorrow, and it's in there and it's calling to me. I'm not gonna lie, I already sampled quite a bit of it, including some that I ate in the car, which it's in a pint container, so literally I was in the car with the container looking at cars next to me. It was awkward, but it was worth it because it is really good ice cream. All right, I have to go to bed because I have to wake up at 8 a.m. Eastern to start the Twitter contest. So yeah, but release day. They don't get old, just so you know, no matter how many books you publish. The third book, just as exciting as the first one. I'm pumped. All right, I'm gonna go, and I'm definitely not gonna go eat ice cream before bed. Definitely not.
Subliminal messages.
Hey, Rachel, can you step to your right, please?
This goes a long way.
Oh, she looks like she thinks she really does belong there, though. Yep.
No. What did your text say? This is Dino. Sisters Read. I'm probably supposed to have a dinosaur. Nice to meet you.
Clearly.
Hold my hand. No, do it on the. Do the wave. Do the wave. Doesn't that look cooler than I thought?
No. Oh, that one kind of did. Okay.
Woo!
Pretty.
Okay.
That actually looks really iconic on the, because you've got the scars and it's catching them really well.
Dang it. Is it she or he?
She. He.
Okay.
And then look up at each other. I knew you were gonna crack up. I was waiting for it. That was a noble attempt.
You can't laugh. You have scar juice all over your face. I know.
Okay. Okay, come back and do that again. I'm Jackson Pearce, and the Sweetly release party is tonight. I know there are probably lots of cool, calm, and collected authors who know there will be a big crowd there, but I will not lie to you, I am always terrified that no one is going to show up. Even when people have told me, hey, I'll be there, I'm still worried I'm gonna look out over the sea of empty chairs and see somebody like, what are you doing here? It makes me very nervous. But as long as there are people there, I actually calm down because oddly enough, I sort of like talking to an audience. I kind of actually just like talking to a camera, to an audience, to my cat. Yeah. So if you are able to come, if you're in Georgia or perhaps a surrounding state, if you don't mind road tripping a little bit, it will be at Barnes & Noble in Alpharetta, Georgia. The address is somewhere below. It starts at 7. I would love it if you came. I also want to thank those of you that participated in the hashtag Sweetly Madness that was Tuesday. I gave away a lot of prizes. I will be sending things to 240 different people. I am very, very concerned about how much money I will owe the post office. But it was worth it, totally worth it. It was so much fun. I really loved it. It was fantastic. You guys got me to 5,000 Twitter followers, which is amazing. Yay. By the way, this week and this week only, if you buy a copy of Sweetly, take a picture of the receipt, or if you bought it online, forward me the receipt along with your address, and I will send you a free book plate to put inside your copy of Sweetly. A book plate is a little cute sticker thing that's designed to match the book, and I sign it, and if you can't come see me and get your book signed in person, it is the second best thing. Also, just to throw this out there, a lot of people have been saying like, hey Jackson, can you come to California or Japan or Florida or my birthday party? I would really love to come to California, Japan, Florida, and your birthday party because I really like cake, but that's beside the point. Unfortunately, authors can pretty much only go where they get invited. We're kind of like vampires that way. So if you want me to visit your city, the best thing you can do is usually talk to your school librarian or a bookstore manager about having me come visit there because I would really love to visit. I would. I like visiting people. All right, I promise we will get back to normal, non-spastic videos next week, and I appreciate you hanging with me as I panic over Sweetly. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again on Tuesday, when it will not be Sweetly Week anymore. Oh, it won't be Sweetly Week anymore. That's sad. Okay, bye. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about Topsy the elephant, and by proxy about Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. The story of Topsy is kind of sad, so I'm going to show you the video of me attempting to be graceful at an aerial hoop class I took last Friday while I tell it. So Topsy was the circus elephant in the early 1900s at Coney Island. Topsy was strong and impressive and weighed 3 tons, and perhaps because she weighed 3 tons, she wasn't really into being abused by her trainers. She ended up killing 3 trainers, the last one after he tried to feed her a lit cigarette, which, let's be honest, I can't exactly blame Topsy for being pretty furious about. Since Topsy had killed so many people, Coney Island decided to kill her. But how do you kill a 3-ton elephant? Well, luckily, Thomas Edison showed up with a solution. Thomas Edison at the time was in the middle of the War of the Currents, which was this big fight between Edison and Nikola Tesla over which electrical current was more effective. Edison was backing direct current because he had a lot of money invested in it, while Tesla backed alternating current, which was flatly more effective. Edison's argument was that alternating current was dangerous, and to prove this, he electrocuted things with it, like horses and elephants. Yep, Thomas Edison hooked Topsy up to 6,600 volts of alternating current while 1,500 people watched live. Topsy died in seconds, and the event was videotaped and watched throughout the United States. The video is on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch, but it's kind of sad, so yeah. In the end, Edison lost the War of the Currents, and Tesla went on to build the hydroelectric plant at Niagara Falls, so he pretty much won there, and alternating current is actually what we still use today. In the 40s, there was a huge fire at Coney Island, which everybody called Topsy's Revenge, and there is a memorial to her there today. So, there you have it. Me looking ridiculous on a hoop and Topsy the elephant. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again on Friday. I'm Jackson Pearce, and I am very, very tired. In fact, I'm already wearing pajamas for this video. I am very tired because today was the first day of both DragonCon and the Decatur Book Festival. I will be at both events all weekend, so please, there is a link somewhere below me and check it, and you can see where I will be and when I will be there, and you can also find out how to get a signed fail invitation from me, so yeah. Go. So since I am so exhausted, today's video is going to be a very short lesson on some commonly misused words in the English language. First up, its versus its. These are 2 different words. They are not interchangeable. Its with the apostrophe is a contraction for it is. It's easy enough to remember that. Just think that the apostrophe takes the place of the letter I. So it is becomes its. It's cold in here. It's a lovely day outside. It's a unicorn. It is. It's without the apostrophe is possessive. As in, the dog ate its food, the monkey threw its banana, the unicorn flashed its horn. Possessive, its. Second round is your versus your. Again, 2 different words, not interchangeable. This mistake is made all the time on my YouTube channel in the comments. Your with the apostrophe is a contraction for you are. You can remember that the same way you remember the other one. Just think that the apostrophe takes the place of the letter A. So you are becomes your. Without the apostrophe, again, is possessive. Your dog, your monkey, your unicorn. So both of those, its and your, remember, with the apostrophe is a contraction, without the apostrophe is possessive in both cases. And lastly, affect versus effect. Affect is a verb, and if you remember your Schoolhouse Rock, you know that a verb is what's happening. So run, walk, sleep, eat are all verbs just like affect. So when you use affect in a sentence, it has to be doing something. For example, the long walk to Dragon Con today negatively affected my mood. I was affected. Affected was something that happened. It was a verb. Effect, on the other hand, is a noun, and if you remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing. In this case, it's a thing. In the movies, you have special effects. Those are things. That's effect with an E. Used in a sentence, my experience at Dragon Con today will have a lasting effect on me. A lasting effect, a thing, a noun. Alright, so I hope that helped. Thank you guys for watching. I have got to get to bed because I have got to wake up very, very early tomorrow, but I will see you again on Tuesday. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about this. All of this. These are the prizes. These are the prizes from Sweetly Day, and there are a lot of them. They're everywhere. I've spread them out. It's not good. It's taking a really long time. My bill for the post office is going to be insanely high, and I was complaining about this on Twitter, and somebody said, wait, I thought that your publisher was paying for all this. I was surprised that they thought that because, you know, it was my giveaway, so it's my expense. And it occurs to me that there are a lot of other misconceptions about authors, and so in today's video, I'm going to try to clear up 6 of those. I was going to try to package prizes as I did that, but well, first off, I'm out of tubes, so, you know, there's that. Number 1, an author gets to choose his or her cover. No, not even a tiny bit. Authors pretty much have no say whatsoever in our covers. Sometimes publishers will show us a cover and ask us for our opinion, but it's usually more of a, you know, so what do you think about this? As opposed to, please give me your genuine thoughts on this artwork. Sometimes we say we love it and the cover ends up getting changed, and sometimes we say we hate it and the cover ends up staying. Number 2, all authors care about is that you read their books by any means necessary. This actually came up while I was doing that video on book piracy. Somebody said, wouldn't you rather people read your books illegally than not read them at all? No! Because yes, I want people to read my books, but this is my job. And if I don't make enough money doing this and I have to go get another job, it means no more books for me or for you. So yes, I do really want you to read my books, but I also want to get paid so I can keep doing the thing I love and providing you with books. Number 3, authors are rich. We're not all rich. If you see us traveling a lot promoting the book, usually that's the kind of thing the publisher is paying for. Number 4, all authors are poor. We're also not all poor. I mean, basically authors can be rich, authors can be poor, and authors can be anything in between because book advances range from several $100s to several $1 million. Number 5, authors can make a movie out of their book if they want to. I would love to see Sisters Red made into a movie, really I would. But I am not a producer, I am not a movie studio, and I am certainly not an actress. And for my book to become a movie studio or a producer or something along those lines, they have to buy the rights to the book and then they have to make the movie. And I would love that to happen, but they have to make the movie. I can't make a movie. I don't have those skills. I barely can even feed myself. And number 6, authors aren't coming to their city because they hate you. Authors aren't coming to your city because they haven't been invited by a library, a bookstore, a festival, or a school. That has to happen for us to visit you, so you should talk to your librarian or a teacher or a bookstore or a festival and see if you can get us invited. Alright, I am going to pick up this giant disaster of packages that fell at the beginning of this video and get back to packing things up. I will talk to you later. I'm Jackson Pearce, and in this video I'll be answering questions from Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, by the way, I'm at Jackson Pearce. It's very easy to remember if you know my name at all, which I say it at the beginning of every video, so I feel like you should by now if you've been watching with any sort of regularity. Alright, anyway, here we go. What made you first move to Atlanta? I first moved to Atlanta when I was a kid as a result of my dad's job, and then after I graduated college, I came back to Atlanta because I got a job here, so, you know, jobs. Is it better to plan out stories or to just start writing? I always plan mine out because I really like to know where I'm headed. However, there are lots of authors who just start and go for it, so you should definitely do whichever one works for you, but I do advise that you try both methods at least once. What was your favorite Decatur Book Festival moment? I had a really nice time on my panel actually, which I don't know if that really counts as a moment. You know, it was like an hour long, so I guess if I have to pick a moment out of the panel, it would be when we were discussing whether or not Justin Bieber is a witch. What movies inspire you? I don't know that I feel like movies very consciously inspire me necessarily. I will tell you this though, I have a very, very mixed taste in movies. I loved Avatar. You know, yes, it was Pocahontas with blue people, but I really liked Pocahontas and I've got no problem with blue people, so I really enjoyed Avatar. I also love this movie called Cool Runnings, which if you've somehow missed it on TBS every single weekend, it's about the Jamaican bobsled team, and it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie, but I love it anyway. And I love Pixar movies, and I love indie movies for the most part. My absolute favorite type of movie though is documentaries. I really, really enjoy documentaries. I've seen most of the sort of big popular ones, but if you have a more obscure documentary that you think I might have missed, please leave a comment about it and I will watch it. What's your favorite part to write in a book? The last page, because then I'm done writing the book. Which Back to the Future movie do you like best? The first one and second one are pretty equal in my mind, actually. I really, really love the second one, and I love how if you've seen the first one, you see all the familiar scenes, and that's awesome. The third one, however, I just pretend it doesn't exist. The third Back to the Future movie is awful, and you know it is awful. Everyone knows it is awful. People try to pretend like it's good. It's not, okay? It's not. All right, so I'm going to get back to finishing up packaging Sweetly Prices, and I'm almost done. I'm so close to being done. I can feel it. I can feel the post office and so close. But anyway, I will talk to you guys again on Tuesday. Bye. Da 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 da. A DeLorean. September 11th, 2001, I was a senior in high school. I was in my second period partner dance class learning a swing dance number when the first plane hit. The second plane hit just before we transitioned to third period, so I didn't even know anything was going on until that class changed. During that change, I always stopped by this favorite teacher's room to say hello, and when I went in this time, she was watching the TV and panicked, and I asked her what happened, and she explained it to me. And then I had to go on to my third period economics class where the teacher didn't turn on the news, and so it really wasn't until fourth period that I was able to watch the TV and watch the news and really understand what was happening. To be entirely honest, at that point, it wasn't that scary. It was something that was happening to a building I barely knew anything about in a state far away to people I had never met. It wasn't personal. In fifth and sixth period, we watched the news and we started hearing the really bad horror stories. The towers had long fallen, so we started seeing footage of people covered in debris, footage of people walking across the bridge out of Manhattan. We saw a lot of footage of people screaming as the towers fell, and over and over and over, we saw the footage of the second plane hitting the towers. That afternoon, marching band practice was canceled. I would later hear that the younger assistant band director, he had made everybody in all of his classes watch TV silently, and he told them all that this was history happening and they needed to pay attention. Walking home with my sister, I remember pointing up and noting how there were no planes in the sky. I mean, it's not like we lived on a major plane thoroughfare or anything, but looking up and realizing there were no planes, and if you saw a plane, it was bad news. It was a very scary and unusual experience. At home, I continued to watch the news. There were dozens and dozens of reports of, other planes that were coming for other cities, and nobody knew what was going on. I don't really remember what happened for most of the afternoon, but I remember that evening, my mom and my sister were gone somewhere, and so my dad and I were watching the news in the completely dark living room. We saw people making hundreds and thousands of wooden stretchers out of plywood and planks because they were so sure these were gonna be needed to carry victims out of the towers. Nobody knew at that point that there were no living victims. We saw the footage of the towers collapsing, of the people running for their lives from the debris, and I remember my dad pointing to all the papers that were flying around and him saying, "It's incredible, those papers, they used to be on someone's desk." And oddly enough, it was at that point that I realized what that powder that was covering everything and everyone was. It was the crushed concrete, and it was the crushed desks, and the crushed papers, and the crushed office chairs, and the crushed computers, and the crushed people. And although I don't know why, it was at that moment that it suddenly felt personal. After we watched Congress address the country and break into an impromptu rendition of God Bless America, I went to my room and I cried. It felt stupid to cry in front of my father, in front of my family. It felt stupid to cry in front of anyone. In some ways, it still feels stupid to cry in front of anyone because I didn't lose anyone on September 11th. So what right do I have to be angry or upset or hurt? I didn't know anyone in New York, much less in one of those towers. Not one single person I knew, even impersonally, lost their life that day. And so sometimes I feel like I don't deserve to be affected. But I am, and what it is that affected me, that got to me so much, was thinking about the people on the upper levels of the trade towers, or the people on the airplanes, the people who had longer than a moment to realize what was happening. I mean, who do you call? What is your last act? How do you look at your daughter sitting next to you on a plane and you know that you're both going to die and you have longer than a moment to realize this and yet not enough time to save yourself? What do you do when you have longer than a moment to decide if you would rather die by fire or by falling? On September 11th, I always think over and over and over, all of those people, and they were forced to live their last moments in fear and panic and horror. I still don't understand why those people had to die, much less why they had to die the way they did. You know, and the answer, God has a plan, has never fully satisfied me. And yet the idea that they just died meaninglessly, I also can't be satisfied with that. Again though, why does it matter to me? I didn't know these people. I didn't really even know much about the towers until that day. And yet I think that maybe that is exactly why I am so affected. All these people who I didn't know, people who I will never get to know, people whose deaths affected my life tremendously, and I do not understand why. But I do know that I'm not alone. I think a lot of people feel the same way I do. Like, we weren't in New York on September 11th, and yet we are always in New York because of September 11th. Because we can't forget the things we saw on the news, or the anger that we felt, or the sadness that we felt, or the fear that something else was going to happen at any moment. I know there are a ridiculous amount of September 11th documentaries and books and films and articles out there, and I know a lot of people are tired of hearing the phrase, September 11th changed everything, but it did. I know a lot of you either weren't alive or weren't old enough to have really vivid memories of that day. And I don't think it's fair to somehow act like you're wrong for not being frustrated or angry. But I do think it's really important that you understand as best as you can. That you realize I am not that much older than you, and yet we grew up in entirely different worlds. When I was growing up, terror alert and Al-Qaeda were not words I heard every day. You know, there was no risk at the airport of them patting down my grandma to make sure she didn't have a bottle of water on her. And yet there was also not really a sense of patriotism and pride, not only in your country, but in your fellow man. Because September 11th really brought out the worst in some people, but it also brought out the best in a lot of people. And it will never stop. The impact September 11th had on the world will never ever stop. Even as we heal, even as we rebuild, even as we struggle to understand. And I don't know that we will ever understand. And so maybe right now healing and rebuilding has to be enough. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again on Tuesday. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about writing short stories. Now, I will be the first to admit that I am no pro at writing short stories. It wasn't really something I did a lot before I wrote novels. I kind of went straight into writing novels, actually. And in some ways, I genuinely think writing a novel can be easier. However, I was asked to be in several anthologies, and so I had to start writing short stories, and it turns out I actually really enjoy writing them. So recently, I've been doing a lot of thinking about short stories, and reading short stories, and writing short stories, and brainstorming short stories, and so I thought I would share with you some of the things that I've learned. Alright, so here we go. Tips on writing short stories. Number one, this is from a friend of mine. It is okay to tell and not show in a short story. Because you're dealing with a limited amount of space, and so you don't necessarily have time to sort of slowly, meticulously, quietly build up a character's backstory. You really sometimes just need to say, you know, Julie's dad is really weird, or Steven went skydiving. Number two, don't try to be all things to all people. Understand that a short story is a single moment in time. One problem with one solution. You don't need to go into, you know, what color the horse was or how many cars he has or a really intricate subplot. There's no time for that. It's a short story. Number three, outlines are a beautiful thing. I know a short story seems sort of, well, too short for an outline, but I stand by my outline love. Having an outline means you know exactly where you're going and the best route to get there when you're dealing with a limited number of words. Number 4, get to the point. Short stories usually reach the reader by way of anthologies or collections or something like that, which means if you don't snag and hold on to a reader's attention in the first paragraph, they can just flip a few pages and read somebody else's story. Don't spend the first 3 pages building up the atmosphere. Get to the point of the story. If it's the humor or the heartache or whatever, get to it in the first paragraph so your reader wants to keep going. All right, I hope that helps. If you did not know, I have a short story coming out in an anthology called Enthralled. It's a story set in the world of As You Wish, so if you liked that book, you might like the story, maybe. But yeah, it comes out on September 20th, and I am very excited. There is a link somewhere below, and I will see you on Friday. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about, I don't know. I really have no idea what to make a video about right now. My well of video topics is apparently running dry. For starters, I guess I could talk about how I missed last Friday's video, and I'm very, very sorry for that, but I missed it because once again, I felt like I didn't have anything to talk about. Somebody suggested that I do punishments like the Green Brothers do, so I always have motivation to make a video, but I don't want to be punished, so no. It's funny that this happens to me with videos because this never really happens to me with writing. You know, I always feel like there is another story to tell and another book to write and that kind of thing. Maybe it's because making videos is more like making diary entries than it is writing a book, you know, and I was never very good at diary keeping either. I remember I had one though that was pink with one of those crappy little locks on it that anybody can pop open with a paper clip. I remember writing really compelling things in that diary, like, for dinner we had chicken. I don't think my mom or my sister ever really read my diary because, let's face it, nobody wants to read something that boring. In 8th grade, I complained to my English teacher, Miss Towler, about how hard I found it to write a diary, and she reminded me that, you know, Anne Frank lived in an attic, and she didn't really have contact with the outside world, and she didn't really go anywhere, and she didn't really do anything, and yet she was able to write a diary entry every day. And Miss Towler has a very good point, and that kind of made me wonder if Anne Frank were around today, would she do video entries instead of diary entries? It's very, you know, these are the things I think about instead of thinking about video topics. I lost my driver's license yesterday while walking Space Dog. If you find it, please mail it to me. I would really appreciate it because I do not want to go to the DMV. And I'm getting Purity Arcs very soon. They will not have a final cover on them, and apparently due to a mistake at the printer, they also do not have page numbers. But I'm excited nonetheless. It will be good times. I made pumpkin muffins today. They were all right, not great. Oh, and I've been watching The Tudors recently. Anne's head just got chopped off, which was really unfortunate because she had truly grown on me. And the Enthralled anthology released today. You should probably go buy it, and you should probably buy As You Wish as well because the Enthralled short story I wrote is set in the As You Wish world, so they are, you know, a pair. And pirate dance. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about ebooks. A lot of people ask my opinion on ebooks. Whether or not I think they're going to slowly murder hard copies, whether or not I own an e-reader, which I don't, by the way. The reason I don't own an e-reader is because hard copies of books have a sort of nostalgic meaning to me. Holding them, having them, turning the pages, smelling them even, they have this effect on me that really takes me back the same way that smelling evergreen makes me think of Christmas or cut grass makes me think of summer vacation. It's not that having hard copies of books makes me remember my childhood in a really direct way. It's that holding a hard copy of a book makes me feel the same way I felt as a child, like a dreamer, like somebody that can get lost in a book. But if I didn't have that nostalgic connection to hard copies of books, I would probably be perfectly happy reading all my books on an e-reader. Similar to how I'm perfectly happy having all of my music in a digital file on my computer. You know, I don't need a hard copy. I don't own a single CD, not one. So while I don't personally prefer ebooks, I don't really blame those who do. I do think that until kids are brought up solely on e-readers, there will be enough people around to maintain a need for hard copies. And I will admit there will probably come a day when hard copies of books are the rarity instead of the rule, but I don't think that day is right around the corner. So despite Amazon poorly naming their new tablet the Kindle Fire, I don't think ebooks are going to burn up hard copies. Yes, I know ebooks are gaining in popularity, and yes, I know a lot of bookstores are closing. But I think that has less to do with ebooks and more to do with the cost of running a brick and mortar store, especially when compared to the cost of running an online bookstore. Which again is very unfortunate to someone who loves hard copies of books because I love bookstores. But despite all that, I will say this, I think the most important thing is reading. Yes, it makes me sad to see a part of books that I love so much essentially being wounded, but I am glad that enough people are reading to warrant a change in the technology with which they do so. I'm glad that my books are bought and read, be it via Kindle or the hardback. Ebooks are not for me, but they are not the manifestation of evil either. They are just different. All right, and now for a total change of pace. Look what I have! Ah. This is an advanced copy of my next book, Purity, which comes out in April. I will be doing giveaways, but not until January, so I'm just taunting you with this. More information about this book is on my website. You should go visit. There is a link somewhere. Also, I'm going to be traveling a lot in October and November, and I'm also going to be working on edits for Fathomless, the third book in the Sisters Red series. Because of all that, I'm gonna kind of have to mix up my video schedule for a little bit. There will always be at least one video a week. There will usually be more. There could be videos on Wednesdays, Sundays even. The madness! Yeah, it's like 1:15 in the morning. I think I'm starting to crack. All right, thank you guys for watching. And by the way, if you're in Austin, Texas, I will be at the Austin Teen Book Festival this weekend, which I am very, very excited about. So yeah, there's that. I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pierce, and today is October 6th, which means today is the official release date of Sweetly in the UK. I feel like I need to spread the news that this book is coming out, and so there's only really one way to do that I know of. Where is it? No, seriously, where is it? I don't know where. Ooh, there. Here we go. Testing. All right, so I'm going to go tell people that Sweetly comes out today, and I'm going to try to find a way to celebrate it. Okay, wait, this looks like it could work. All right, here we go. Hello, people of Atlanta. I just wanted to let everybody know that I have a book coming out in the UK. It comes out today. Everyone? Anyone? Hello, people of Atlanta. I just wanted to let everybody know that my book comes out in the UK today, October 6th. It's called Sweetly. Anyone? No? I don't think this is working. You know, maybe it'll work better if I'm like buying something. Like if I'm offering them something. Maybe then they'll be excited to know. I'm gonna try that. I would like 2 cheese and veggie tamales, and can I also get a Diet Coke? I'm also telling everybody that I come across with my camera that my book comes out in the UK today. It's called Sweetly. It came out here a while back. But I'm just telling everyone to see who's excited for me. That is awesome. What's it called? Thank you, Sweetly. I'm glad you're excited for me. Very excited. Okay, you know what I just realized is because my book is coming out in the UK today, Tamale Queen, they gave me an extra tamale. They gave me 3 tamales. They're so awesome. So clearly buying something is the secret. So I'm gonna keep it up. That's what I'm gonna go do. All right, so here we go. All right, so if I figure that I need to buy things, what I should do is buy as many British things as I can find, because you know that's where my book is coming out. So here we go. Let's see. I'll just go ahead and get, I don't know what this stuff is. Okay, are you not offended by that? Because I'm offended by that a little bit. You guys actually eat that? I mean, if you do, it's, you know, I'm willing to say there are cultural differences and these things happen, but I can't get over it. I can't. Finger. A mini finger. Bite size, okay. All right. Digestive biscuits. Turkish biscuits. I thought you were English. I like the idea of gooseberry jam. Maybe I should grab that too. So I am back in my car with my bag of things that I bought, my bag of UK things, and I'm going to eat this Mars bar, which I don't actually know what is in the Mars bar because I've never had one before, and it has no description of what this candy is, but I'm going to eat it and I'm sure it will be delicious. Buying things, that's the trick to people's hearts. That's how you can get people excited about your book. That's what I've learned today. All right, so again, my book is called Sweetly. It is a companion book to last year's Sisters Red, and it comes out today in the UK. It should be available any place books are sold. I'm very excited. Thank you for watching. I'm going to eat this candy now. Unwrap the candy. Oh, it's like a Milky Way. Well, damn, that's really good. You British people, you're onto something. I'm Jackson Pierce, and I am here, and I am back, and I am on YouTube, all in your internets. I'm sorry I was gone for a little while, YouTube. I had to write a book, Fathomless. It's the 3rd in the Sisters Red series. Comes out next fall, yeah. And while I love you dearly, YouTube, writing books is kind of my job, and so I had to step back and take some time and finish my job, and now I am back to YouTube. And I am very excited about making videos again, so with all that said, here we go. This video is about NaNoWriMo. If you don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it is National Novel Writing Month, and I am a huge fan of it. I think allowing yourself to not take writing too seriously lets your creativity flourish and your mind wander, and you can kind of just go for it, and there's something really beautiful about that. I think doing NaNoWriMo was kind of like the writing equivalent of dancing around in your underwear to 80s songs, you know? I mean, is it good dancing? No, it's not good dancing, yet it's awesome to do it anyway. So here are 3 tips for those of you doing NaNoWriMo this year. Number 1, write the full 1,667 words a day before you go to bed. Don't let yourself go to bed until those words are done. Because writing 1,600 words a day, not that hard, but writing 3,300 words a day, all right, it's getting a little bit trickier, and beyond that, you'll be so far behind, you'll be frustrated, you'll give up. Just always, always, always write your 1,600 words a day. Number 2, don't fill your story with stupid stuff just to hit the word count. I know some other NaNoWriMoers disagree with me. I've heard of people having their characters sing in rounds just to meet the word count, but look, you don't have to do that. Here's the secret. Whenever you're stuck, think of the very worst thing that could possibly happen to your characters and then make that happen. Not only will it generate a lot of words, but it'll also stretch your creativity as they struggle to get out of whatever the worst thing is. And number 3, don't go back and edit. If you decide something in the beginning of the book needs to be changed or you want to go in a new direction, just type it in all caps, change this in the beginning and then keep going. That way, if you decide to go back and edit the novel, you have the big note right there to remind you and you didn't have to waste your November going back and editing. All right, I hope that helps. Good luck to everybody in Nanoland this year. And by the way, since I'm kind of back, I don't have a lot of topics to discuss. So if you have any videos you would like to see, please leave it in the comments and I will take note. All right, thank you guys for watching and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pearce and I am exhausted. I just got back from the Dahlonega Literary Festival and I swear to you, you would think I just got back from like running a marathon or, like saving babies from sinking ships or I don't know, something else that takes a lot of physical effort. Anyway, I did want to get a video up this week though, so here are some things. Thing number 1, there was this really awesome anthology called The First Time available on Amazon as an ebook only. It only costs $2.99 and it has a short story that I wrote in it. My short story is called Turn Here and there's a whole bunch of other really great short stories in it, so I highly recommend you go get the anthology. Even if you don't have an e-reader, you can download a program that'll read it on your computer over on the Amazon side and it's all very simple. Thing number 2, it is almost time for Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. My sister and I have this tradition where we eat everything in sight, just everything, and then we lay on the floor because we're too full to actually move. We're kind of like beached whales, like, And thing number 3, I don't really have that much to talk about, as it turns out. So here's some knowledge. You know those giant heads on Easter Island, the big statues with the very straight noses and everything? Did you know they have bodies attached to them? Seriously, here's a picture. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I had no idea. I just thought they were giant heads, but apparently they have bodies attached and one of the bodies is kneeling and the rest are like standing, I think. But yeah, there's some knowledge, some Jeopardy maybe for you there. Trivia. I don't know why you need to know that, but isn't it great? All right, thank you for watching and Jackson out. I think I just said Jackson out, didn't I? I'm not cool enough to say out. Yeah. I'll see you later is probably better for me, yeah. I'm Jackson Pearce and I just got back from NCTE in Chicago. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to get on a 7:10 flight and so I am very tired, much like my last video. I'm wearing my pajamas, you'll notice. I'm not ashamed. You guys can see me in my pajamas. You've seen me with a face mask on. I don't really see how things are that different. This is just gonna be a quick little video. I put together some travel tips, specifically some plane travel tips to help you out in your travels throughout the holiday season. Tip number 1, as soon as you get through security, buy a bottle of water and try to drink the entire thing before you get on the plane. There's a lot less humidity in the air on the plane, so if you don't drink water and hydrate before you get on, you're gonna kind of feel like crap later. Tip number 2, look people, everybody knows how security works. You gotta take your shoes off, you gotta take your jewelry off, you gotta take your laptop out, the liquids out. We all know this system by now. So if you show up wearing lace-up boots and 19 pieces of jewelry, I will hate you. Everyone in line will hate you. Don't wear metal, wear slip-on shoes and have your laptop and your little bag of liquids in a very easy to access location, please. Tip number 3, sometimes you're late for your flight. If you're me, that's pretty much every flight ever. Don't think of your sprint down the terminal as panicked and desperate. Think of it as a fun way to get in extra cardio before your flight. And then if you miss it, you gotta walk back and figure out a new ticket, so it's really quite a workout. Tip number 4, if you smell, stay off the plane. Thank you. Tip 5, headphones are the universal sign of leave me alone. If your seatmate is wearing headphones, she does not want to talk to you. No matter how great your daughter's Facebook page and your family photos are, your seatmate does not want to see them for 2.5 hours. And tip number 6, it's not that I don't like your child. And I understand you can't exactly put your toddler in cargo for the trip, okay? I know there are some legal issues with that. But if he kicks my seat one more time, I'm going to turn around and tell him your little trip to Disneyland is all a ruse, that he's actually headed to a vegetable plantation to become an indentured servant. I'm serious, let him kick it one more time. You'll see. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later this week. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is going to be kind of depressing. Seriously, I'm just warning you now, sad video ahead, because this video is about the 52 Hertz whale. So in the late 80s and early 90s, the US Navy started picking up on their instruments the sound of a whale calling out. You know, they were listening on their little dials in the submarines, I guess. I don't really know how the Navy works, but either way, they were hearing, you know, whale noises. Whale. It's my impression of whale noises. Now this was nothing unusual because their instruments pick up the sound of whales calling out all the time, but what was really strange about this is this whale was calling out at a frequency of 52 Hertz. Most baleen whales, which are filter feeders like blue whales and humpback whales, they usually call out at a frequency between 15 and 25 Hertz. The 52 Hertz whale also called out faster than other baleen whales, and it seemed to have a kind of strange migratory pattern. And all that means the Navy has no idea what is up with this whale. All they know is this is the only whale that is like this. It's been suggested that the 52 Hertz whale could be the last of its kind, a whale species we just didn't know anything about. It's also possible that it's a hybrid of two baleen whale species, or that maybe it's just a genetic abnormality. But the depressing part of this video is regardless of what the whale is or isn't, it is the loneliest whale in the world. See, because it calls out at 52 Hertz instead of the normal 15 to 25 Hertz, other whales can't hear it calling out. So this whale is wandering the Pacific Ocean, calling out for other whales, and they literally cannot hear its calls. And since the 52 Hertz whale has that wonky migration path, it doesn't exactly run into a lot of other whales either. Lonely whale is depressing. By the way, the reason we haven't caught it and studied it or tagged it or anything is because we really only know where it's been based on the Navy instruments, and the Pacific Ocean is a very big place. But anyway, the story of the 52 Hertz whale kind of made me wonder. Is that story sad because the whale is actually sad? Or is that story sad because I'm anthropomorphizing the whale, you know, giving it human qualities? Because I know I would be sad if I was calling out over and over for friends and no one ever answered me, but I'm a person. I have different values and needs than a whale. Maybe the whale doesn't really care that no one ever answers, and maybe he just calls out because he thinks that's what he's supposed to be doing. Plus, baleen whales are pretty solitary animals anyway, so it's not like if the other whales could hear him, he'd be like, you know, having a whale party or something with guacamole or whatever party food whales would eat. So, is the whale actually as sad as his story makes me, or is he just swimming around wondering what kind of krill he'll have for lunch being a whale? Maybe it's both. I don't know. Now I've depressed you though, haven't I? But hey, here's a way to cure that depression. Look what I have here. I have an ARC of my next book, Purity, which comes out in April, and I also have this little sampler pack of The Fault in Our Stars, John Green's new book. So to undepress you, I will be giving away both of these to one commenter when this video hits 5,000 views. So 5,000 views, and then someone who commented on it gets both of these things. I'll even put a little ribbon around them if I remember to. Yeah, so there's that. Start commenting, start viewing. 52 Hertz whale, if you're out there, you could also win. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about resolutions. It's 2012! 2012! I can't wait until this year is over and people stop talking about the Mayan prophecy thing, because I've been over that since 2000. But anyhow, as it just turned 2012, I would wager that either you or someone you know is making a New Year's resolution. Maybe it's to write books or publish books or lose weight or buy a pony or whatever. And I'm here to tell you to stop doing that. Making resolutions, that is. By all means, continue buying the pony. Here's the thing about New Year's resolutions. How many have you kept, honestly? You expect to break New Year's resolutions. Your friends and your family and your coworkers, they all expect you to break your New Year's resolutions. It's like that's what they're there for, to break them. I'm not saying you're not well-meaning when you make them, it's just everyone expects them to not work out. It's kind of like getting married at a drive-thru in Las Vegas. Sure, some of those alcohol-induced unions might last, but everyone's gonna keep the receipts to your wedding gifts. If you want to change something in your life or do something in your life, you do not need January 1st to roll around in order to do it. You can do it now, right now, like at this instant. Because changes and decisions and tasks that you can accomplish right now are the only kind you're actually ever going to be able to attain anyway. For example, right now you can start working on a book. And right now you can start being a better friend. And right now you can start exercising or eating better or, looking for ponies. I'm kind of hung up on ponies today. Those are all things you control. You can do them right at this moment. But right now, you can't necessarily finally get your book published because that relies on other people like editors and the market and the industry and agents, and you can't control all that. So you can't make that happen right now. But you can, right now, begin working on your query letter or begin submitting it or begin a major round of revisions. So if you want to do those things right now and call them New Year's resolutions, fine, but know that nothing magical happened on January 1st. You simply decided to change something about your life and you did it. So we're not making New Year's resolutions, we're simply making decisions about our lives and we're making them happen and we're in control. And I sound like a self-help tape, don't I? My point is just don't think that anything magical happens in the new year. You are in control of your life, and if you want to change it, you have the power to do so. So with all that said, I'm kind of embarrassed right now because I was going to give away prizes if my last video got to 5,000 views and didn't so much get to 5,000 views. It's kind of awkward. So if it gets there, I still will give away those prizes. Remember that every time the video starts, that counts as a view, so yeah. But either way, I need to start thinking about how to give away Purity arcs because Purity comes out in like 4 months. It's amazing. And Fathomless comes out in like 9 months. My mind is blown. All right, anyway, thank you guys for watching and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pierce and this video is about simmering. Not cooking simmering, but plot simmering. Or character simmering or setting simmering. Basically, writing simmering. 2 questions I get asked a lot are how to overcome writer's block and what to do when you're stuck writing a book. And the answer is I let things simmer. So let's say you're writing a book and you have everything figured out except for this one detail. And it's a really big detail. It's a detail that you have got to solve or the whole book doesn't work. Maybe it's like how to explain a character's paranoia or how to get rid of the parental units, or in my case, how to get Rosie out of an abandoned subway station. You think and you think and you think and you think and you think about this problem, but it seems like the more you think about it, the more obscure the solution becomes. That's when you step back and you let things simmer. You don't ignore the book entirely, you just focus on something else, something other than the problem at hand. And more often than not, when you're not thinking about it, when you're sort of just letting the problem simmer in the background, you will find a solution to the problem. It'll hit you at a really strange time, like while you're eating ice cream or in the shower or walking the dog or whatever. Basically, you have to be patient, which sucks. No one likes being patient. No one likes letting things simmer. To be honest, I hate the word simmer. I really hated it when critique partners used to tell me, you know, Jax, just step back, let it simmer for a while. Because let's face it, telling somebody to be patient has never ever worked. It's not like someone says, look, just be patient. And you're like, whoa, I hadn't even considered that. Oh my God. All right, I think you're onto something. I will be patient. Good idea. Yeah. It's the same as when somebody tells you to calm down. Has being told to calm down ever actually made someone calmer? Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Look, just calm down. Okay. Thank God you said that. I was really freaking out there and I didn't know what to do, but thanks to your instruction, I feel a lot calmer now. I feel a lot better. Thanks for saying that. But letting things simmer, being patient, calming down for a little while about the problem, it actually does work. It's just sometimes you get so fixated on a problem and its apparent lack of solution that you stop seeing it clearly. Stepping back for a few days or weeks or months even allows your brain to refocus and it can kind of work quietly in the background instead of, obsessing. All right, there you have it, simmering. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pierce and this side of my face is very dark because one of my lights broke and they're fixing it, and so I've only got the one over there. But anyway, before we get very far in this video, I need to announce some winners. That's right, my second to last video about the 52 Hertz whale has finally got 5,000 views, which is a serious relief because it was getting very, very awkward there for a minute. So I've drawn a random winner, and that person is going to receive not only an ARC of my book Purity that comes out April 24th, 2012, but also a sampler of The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. And yes, I know that The Fault in Our Stars has already come out now, and so the sampler isn't really so much to sample it because all of you have read it because it's really good, but you know, I guess it's like a collector's item, maybe. I don't know, you won it, so be happy. And so the winner is, drumroll, Blue Bugs 91. How'd you like that drum roll, huh? Yeah, pretty good. But because I'm pretty thrilled that you guys got that video up to 5,000 views, I'm actually going to give away a second ARC of Purity. So the winner of the second ARC goes to Pirate Gloria. So congratulations, BlueBug91 and Pirate Gloria. You need to email me at jackson@jacksonpearce.com immediately so I can get your stuff out to you and you can celebrate. So with that out of the way, this video is about how I have guilt. So I have not written significantly on a book in 2 months. During those 2 months were the Christmas holidays and the New Year holidays, and then of course I had to do copy edits on Fathomless, which comes out this September, and I had to do 3 sample chapters of a new book, but nonetheless I have not really started a new book and made significant headway, and for that I feel guilt. I mean, I'm outlining a new project right now, but it hasn't really hit its stride, and so I've been watching a lot of movies and eating a lot of ice cream because I got an ice cream maker for Christmas, and I mean, obviously I had to make some test ice cream to make sure it works. Now, I know I've done videos before on how sometimes you should let things simmer and other times you need to take a step back and how you should always follow your creative muse, but I gotta tell you right now, I kind of want to hunt that metaphorical creative muse down and hit her with a brick because I got nothing here. Why do you elude me, metaphor muse? So anyway, I'm letting some plot simmer and working on some sample stuff, and I've got this new idea that's little more than some red sentences on paper, but I gotta tell you, I wish I was in the middle of writing a book, you know, when it gets really exciting, when you're 20,000 words in, you're just going and it's awesome, and that hasn't happened in 2 months and I'm bored and it sucks. So the point of this video, I guess, is if you are stuck in your writing and you are feeling guilty for not finishing something, know that you are not alone, that it happens to all writers, at least most writers that I know, unfortunately myself included, and so you know, it's a writer thing. You gotta deal with it, I guess. So go eat some ice cream and know that the sun will come out tomorrow, and you know, at daybreak you'll have enough light to see where you're aiming that brick at the muse. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later. You write young adult books? Is that porn for teenagers? Do you know J.K. Rowling? You know what you should really do is make a movie out of your book. No, I'll just download it online. Is it on rapidshare.com? So how much did it cost you to get published? What teenagers really need is a book that teaches them stuff. You know, something educational. Oh, shoes! So is your book like Twilight? So is your book like Harry Potter? So is your book like the Bible? You know, I've got a really good idea. You and J.K. Rowling should write a book together. You wrote a book? Am I in it? You should really just publish your book yourself. My brother did that and he sold 300 copies. So I've got a book idea. Maybe I could tell it to you and you could write it and then we could split the profits 70-30. You should really do a book signing in southern Chile. I mean, I know your book isn't coming out there, but I could get 6 people to come at least. So do you know Stephanie Meyer? You know my cousin, he's actually writing a book too. It's totally gonna be a bestseller. Oh, I wanna read it. Can you bring me a free copy? You're right way, eh? So you're like Charlize Theron? I'm actually working on a book too. You know, I've been working on it for 4 years and I've got 2 chapters done, but it's really going places. I'm Jackson Pearce and I am on my way to record the Purity audiobook. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous also. I have my things. I have Purity. I have Shark Big with some water. I've got my video camera because I'm recording this, obviously. I'm really freaking out. I'm mostly worried that I'm going to accidentally make the male voices sound pervy. Oh, hi, Shelby. I mean, I don't know why I would do that on purpose, but I'm concerned. And I have accidentally gone into the Georgia Power parking lot. I'm coming, audiobook people. All right, here we go.
Do that kind of stuff too, so we're just a little behind the time.
Oh, no, it has helped. I think my first book would be out of print if it weren't for a YouTube following. I mean, really, it's something.
So this is,
Hi.
Jeremy is going to be directing.
Okay.
In this booth, and I put your script on an iPad.
Oh, I brought my iPad too, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, great. Then I'll just pull this one out.
That's handy.
And you've got power there if you need it.
Okay.
Rolling. Should turn the volume up in here.
Yeah.
So that,
There's actually audio, yeah.
Oh no. So this is how recording the audiobook worked. I read the book, and when I messed up a word, or read too fast, or just generally botched things, they'd tell me and I'd try again. Buy them here. You just have to ask the pharmacist for the key.
Sorry, can you do buy them here again? It kind of cut off a bit.
tell you the truth, would you mind going back to, oh no?
Yes.
Crossing his arms sounded a little funny, so
Okay.
let's just pick it up there.
And that happened pretty often because I'm totally new to the audiobook thing. My sincere apologies to that guy from earlier, Jeremy, because he had to edit out the 5 million times I started and restarted every single sentence in the book. I am so sorry, Jeremy. I really am. I just wanted it to be perfect. My stomach is swirling. No. What if he thinks I'm a whore? What if he says something? Oh man. So anyway, there you have it. The Purity audiobook will be available on April 24th, and I am very excited about it and very nervous about it, and really, really hope you buy it and like it, and that I do not, in fact, sound pervy when I'm making the male voices. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Well, while you study the effects of NyQuil on nursing mothers, I'm going to buy some ice cream.
I'm sorry, I know you had a hard time with this one, but give it a little bit of pause in between that, like, well,
Okay.
while you're studying, you know.
Well, while you study the effects of NyQuil on nursing mothers, I'm going to buy some ice cream, Jonas says, shaking his head. He moves to step away, but I grab his arm. Jonas, buy them for me. I'll pay you Jonas, buy them for me. I'll pay you and buy your ice cream.
What's my Amazon rank?
Barnes & Noble has a ranking?
So if my rank is 85,000, is that a good thing?
It's like, I don't even care anymore. I just want the money.
It's not about the money, it's about the art.
Pass the hummus?
Pass the vodka.
No, it's not like Twilight.
It is not like Twilight. It's not like Twilight.
No, it's not like Twilight.
It's not like Twilight.
It's not like Twilight.
No, it's not like Twilight.
No, it's not like Twilight.
Well, it's kind of like Twilight.
No! It's not like Twilight!
It's not like Twilight.
Oh, I was waiting on a call from my agent.
I don't read reviews.
I am so looking forward to this retreat that we're on. I just need to disconnect from the internet. No Facebook, no Twitter. We don't need any of that.
Oh, there's gotta be internet here somewhere. Oh.
Has anybody seen the list?
Is the list out? How did that get on the list?
Why didn't that list?
Why is that even still on the list? I want a list. Did you see the original cover?
Wait, a new cover?
If I'm really lucky, Barnes & Noble will hate the cover.
They're repackaging?
No, it doesn't come out for another 2 years.
3 years. It just got bumped. It got canceled.
I don't even know anymore. Where do I get my ideas from?
My vestigial twin.
I just take popular books and change all the character names.
My dog Jake tells me.
Vodka. Dreams.
From the Kraken.
20 Master Plots by Tobias Buckle. I just spin a wheel and...
From Quentin Tarantino.
Acid flashbacks.
I never look at Bookscan.
Oh, my royalty statement.
Does anybody know how to read a royalty statement?
So I got this 13-page single-spaced edit letter, and I'm like, what did you even buy?
It's not even aware I had to state my preference on an Oxford comma.
Oxford commas are not negotiable.
I would so state that.
But how does my book end?
I'm not sure how my book ends.
Can somebody fix my book?
And then the zombies came and everybody died.
The end.
I have something to show you. It's a box. All right, so what I'm actually going to show you is inside the box, obviously. Let's see, shall we? Those of you that have figured it out already. If you didn't know, these are final copies of Purity, which is my next book that comes out, and I have not seen them before. And they're beautiful. It's so pretty, look at it. And on the back there's a key, And this is all shiny. I don't know if you can tell, but this, I should get closer to the camera. Look what they did. Look what they did. Look what, I did not know they were doing that. Man. Oh, I always almost forget this, and I don't know why, because it excites me. Oh, look at it go. Look, and that's my new author photo. I'm excited about it. Oh, and it has a little thing around it. Anyway, I love this book very much. It's my very first contemporary, and like it says on the little tagline that's in here, it's a novel about love, loss, and sex, but not necessarily in that order. But it's a very personal book, a very like special book to me, I guess you could say. Not that the others weren't, but you know, you get the idea. Anyway, it comes out April 24th, and the release party is April 26th at the Barnes & Noble in Alpharetta, Georgia. And you should come because there will be goodie bags and such things. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but it matches my t-shirt, which is a very notable t-shirt. I'll put you back in here for just a moment, but we'll meet again. Just stay there. So this is the official Awkward Club for Awkward People t-shirt. If you follow me on Twitter at all, you know that I am exceedingly awkward, and I'm always talking about how I am a member of the Awkward Club for Awkward People. And so I made this t-shirt. Awkward Club for Awkward People, and then on the back, member. So these were designed by Jason Mallory from ImperialTrouble.com, and you can buy them. There's a black one as well. It's black and yellow and pink, and it's awesome. The link is somewhere below. For sizing information, man, it's pretty easy for you. Your sizes are pretty much always the same, you lucky, lucky bastards. But for ladies, I typically wear a women's size 8 to 10, and this is a large, and it's a little big on me. Like, I would order a size down, so you know, go with that knowledge. Also know if you order a t-shirt, it will in fact have a neck in it. Mine does not, because I cut my necks out of t-shirts. Because I feel like they're touching me otherwise, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go hug my book. Oh my gosh, you know what it matches? It totally matches my stand mixer and my blender. Little things like that make me really happy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Is that a good box? I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about things that I've been doing lately. Yeah, it's not really a cohesive video, it's just, you know, I wanted to tell you about some of the stuff that I've been doing. First, I went rock climbing, or, you know, rubber rock climbing, as it would be. Secondly, I shot this gun. Third, I taught Space Dog to jump through a hoop. Yes, good girl. And fourth, I've been preparing for the release of my new book, Purity, which, in case you somehow missed it, comes out April 24th. The release party is April 26th, and I've got to figure out something to talk about at the release party because I don't really know what I'm going to talk about at this point, and it's all just very stressful. If there's something you would like an author to discuss at her release party, say me at my release party, please mention it below in the comments somewhere. All right, I'm going to go back to stressing now, or maybe I will just teach Space Dog to jump through 2 hoops. Yeah. Probably gonna do that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. I'm Jackson Pearce, and it's been a while. This is not my fault. You see, I've had my hand down my garbage disposal for the past 2 months. There's a spoon caught in it, like a measuring spoon. It's really been quite traumatic. But rather than not do videos, I thought I would do some videos while I continue to try to get the spoon out of the garbage disposal because, you know, I like to multitask. Before I start doing this, I should let you know that I'm not a professional in any way. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, that's not true. I have some idea. I just don't really have a lot of ideas. So anyway, here's some things that I want to update you on before we get started with new videos. So if you do not know, the 3rd book in the fairy tale series, which is called Fathomless, will be coming out later this year on September 4th. I can see it. It's in there. I can grab like the entire thing. It's just some little part is hooked and I cannot get it out. Fathomless is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and I'm really excited about it. I'm totally kidding, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm not kidding about this damn spoon though. How did it get like wedged in there? I don't understand. I also have a few events coming up. They're on my website. They're in Texas, and I'll be at the Decatur Book Festival, which I am super excited about. And because it has been a million years since I've done a video, I'm going to do a very small giveaway. So if you comment on this video, you are entered to win an Arc of Fathomless. That's an advanced reader's copy. I guess it's this way since you're looking at me. So advanced reader's copy of Fathomless. So anyway, thank you very much for sticking with me while I was sort of on a break and working on books and just various things, you know. It was a nice time off, but I'm very excited to start doing videos again, so thank you very much. And now I'm gonna go and work on the spoon situation, because it's a problem. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about t-shirts. So if you've been watching my videos for any substantial amount of time, you've probably noticed that whenever I'm wearing a t-shirt, I have cut the neck out of the fabric. I have a thing about necks on t-shirts. I don't like the fabric to touch me. Turtlenecks, like I have never owned a turtleneck and I never will because that seems like a horrible, horrible creation. I don't know, I feel like I'm being choked or eaten or bleh, something. So when I get a t-shirt, without fail, I cut the neck out. I have these special neck cutting scissors. I should probably retitle these in retrospect. Anyway, so I'm gonna show you how to do it. So you're gonna lay the shirt down like so, and you're gonna start cutting like, I don't know, like an inch out. I guess that's more than an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And I just cut around, and I just leave it like this. Don't try to cut around the seam on all sides. Ta-da! Now your neck has been cut. I mean, not like your neck, but your neck. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about hate, love, and chicken. So I love Chick-fil-A. I mean, I really, really love Chick-fil-A. When I was in college, I ate Chick-fil-A for breakfast pretty much every day of my freshman year, and now I pretty much always go at least 2 times a week, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week. I get the grilled chicken sandwich because it's like the perfect meal, and it's $3.50, and it's relatively healthy, and it's also, you know, delicious. I have no idea exactly how much I've spent at Chick-fil-A in my lifetime, but I would wager it's in the thousands of dollars, honestly. Now, I've always known that Chick-fil-A operates on some pretty strict religiously based principles. For example, they're not open on Sundays, which therefore means that I always want Chick-fil-A the most on Sundays. I'd also always heard that they supported organizations that were, among other things, anti-gay marriage. However, I really, really like Chick-fil-A, and I love their sandwiches, and so for a long time I was willing to look the other way. But then the other day, Dan Cathy, who is the owner and son of the founder of Chick-fil-A, he said some things, and I can't just look the other way anymore. Basically, Dan Cathy said that he and the company support the traditional family and the biblical definition of marriage. He also said, "We are a family-owned business, a family-led business, and we are married to our first wives." That was my best Dan Cathy impression. No. So there are several things that irritate me about Mr. Cathy's statement. Number one, to me, the traditional family is one where the members love and support one another. It has nothing to do with color or ethnicity or shared blood or sexuality or gender. Maybe I'm just like more traditional than you are, Mr. Cathy. And number two, if I supported the biblical definition of marriage, I would keep my mouth shut about that. Because you see, the biblical definition of marriage involves a man and potentially more than one woman and as many concubines as he wants to hire. Biblically, a rapist is required to marry the woman he raped, and ladies, if you can't prove you're a virgin on your wedding night, you're gonna get stoned. I mean, like with rocks, not the other kind of stoned. Also, biblically, if your brother dies and hasn't had a kid yet, you gotta marry his wife. It doesn't really matter if she wants to marry you or not, you have to. Biblically. In fact, nowhere in the Bible is a woman's consent required for marriage. So I'm just saying, if I believed all of those things, I would probably keep my mouth shut. But we all know what Mr. Cathy really meant when he said traditional family and biblical definition of marriage. He meant that he doesn't want gay people to marry one another. Now, ignoring the fact that I think Chick-fil-A could make a killing catering gay weddings, this whole thing perfectly exemplifies why I think people who cite the Bible as a justification for denying others their legal rights are insane. If you're going to claim that you stand up for biblical principles, stand up for them. But that means stand up for all of them. Don't just stand up for the ones that give you a person to hate or an easy victim to other. Stop wearing polyester and stop watching football and go marry a dead brother's wife. I have no problem with people standing up for their religion, but I have a big problem with people standing up for hate and trying to say it's because of religion. So don't say biblical definition of marriage unless you not only know what it means, but fully support it. To toss the word biblical out there as a PR decision and a feel-good way of saying you're homophobic without risking your business not only cheapens your Bible, but in my opinion disrespects your God. Now technically, Chick-fil-A's company line is that they don't discriminate against homosexual employees or customers or whatever, but that's only because it's totally illegal for them to do so. So in a way, I'm actually kind of glad that Mr. Cathy opened his mouth and exposed himself and his company for what they really are, homophobic. He's a man so desperate to other an entire group of people that he's willing to completely deny them their rights. A man who wants to shred the Constitution just a little bit, you know, all men are created equal except the ones that are different from me. And he has every right to say those things, every right. And I have every right to not spend another penny at Chick-fil-A until he recants, or in the very least stops giving money to organizations that are trying to deny my gay friends their rights. Which is what I'm gonna do, because as delicious as their food is, my moral integrity is worth more to me than $3.50. I was on Facebook earlier today and I was really surprised to see a gay friend of mine's little sister talking about how she was still gonna eat at Chick-fil-A and she was not gonna feel guilty about it. She said it wasn't like the company was gonna be hurt by a few people choosing not to eat there. I think a lot of people feel this way, like their money is just a drop in the bucket, like it's not that big a deal to eat there. I mean, you know, it sucks, but I really love their chicken, so it's okay, right? Look, it is a big deal. Your dollars are what keep these companies going. Every penny you spend at a company is a vote in favor of them. And when you vote, companies take notice, even big companies. So don't sell yourself short thinking your vote doesn't matter. It does. Your money matters. Your voice matters. So anyway, Mike Huckabee wants everybody to go to Chick-fil-A on August 1st and spend some money there and show their support for Chick-fil-A's stance on marriage, or like I like to call it, hate. I would like to suggest an alternative. There's this Bible passage, Proverbs 25:21. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. So if you are not a fan of Chick-fil-A's stance on hate, on August 1st, I suggest you go there and ask for a large water. If they say that you need to order something, cite Proverbs 25:21. I mean, technically, if they're operating on biblical principles, they should give you an entire combo meal if your stomach growls, but let's keep it simple. Just ask for a large water and nothing else. If they give it to you, then you just got a few pennies of their profit and less money goes to their hate foundations. And if they don't, then I guess they're not even operating under their perverted version of biblical. If you do this, by the way, please videotape it and load it to YouTube, and I'll put it as a response in this video down below somewhere. All right, so maybe I will see you at Chick-fil-A on August 1st with some water. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, by the way, Mr. Kathy, I believe one of the commandments, the direct word of God is to not lie. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm Jackson Pierce, and so my other video. Wow, did not expect that. Just did not expect it to be, on The Advocate and MSNBC and all of these really amazing sites. But it's cool, it's great even, and I really appreciate those of you that have shared it and watched it and commented on it and all that good stuff. I wanted to clarify though a few points on what this issue is really about, and moreover what it is not about. First off, this is not about chicken. There are a lot of comments that are like, it's just a chicken sandwich, chill out. Just go to KFC, it's better anyway. This is not about chicken. See, typically we don't really know or care where our money goes when we buy a product. The Aunt Kathy has changed all that. Now you know and can't deny the fact that if you purchase food at Chick-fil-A, you are supporting organizations that actively try to deny gay Americans the rights afforded to the rest of us. This is an issue much, much bigger than chicken. Secondly, this is not about free speech. Dan Cathy has the right to say whatever he wants, but freedom of speech does not mean freedom from judgment. He said that he is not ashamed to give money to organizations that are anti-gay. And I said that I think he's a jerk and I'm not going to give him any more money because of it. At no point did I or anyone else say that he doesn't have the right to speak his mind. He totally does. Are we clear on that? Because that was a lot of the comments in the last video and I just want to make sure we're good, okay? Let's move on. Third, this is not about the Bible. A lot of people said that I got the Bible wrong in my previous video, and a lot of other people said that I nailed it. I totally stand by what I said, but it really doesn't matter. The legality of gay marriage should have zero to do with the Bible. The First Amendment to our Constitution says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. If we throw out the religious aspect of this debate, which constitutionally we must do, it becomes a really simple question. Are we all equal? Fourth, this is not about you. Probably not anyway, because gay people only make up about 2% of the population, so odds are you're not gay. The odds are this really doesn't affect you because you always have been and always will be able to marry the person that you love. But remember this, if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're a person who is disabled, if you're a person who is unemployed, if you're a person who is impoverished, if you're a Christian, then at some point, and maybe still, you were the minority. You were treated unfairly because of it. You were persecuted. People like you were killed and beaten and hated, not because of anything you specifically did, but just because of your minority status. So while this particular issue may not be about you exactly, you're in a position of great power over it because you're not the minority. But remember what it was like when you and people like you were one? Is that how you want to treat others? Is that how you want to be treated should the tides change and suddenly you find yourself in the minority again? This issue is about people. People who are currently treated like second-class citizens. People who can be denied access to their loved one's deathbed. Who can be fired simply for being gay. who can't get married to the person they love, and who have their marriage license granted and then revoked as soon as the political climate shifts. We wonder how anybody could think it acceptable to set fire to someone's home or viciously beat a teenage boy or carve words into a woman's skin. They think it's acceptable because at the national level, we are telling them that when someone is gay, that person is less than. That person isn't worthy. Even if you're not participating in these violent crimes, if you are anti-gay marriage, then you are part of the machine that creates them. People are gonna get really mad about that in the comments because it's not a pretty thing to hear, but you know what, it's not supposed to be. Sometimes I see photos of people in like the 40s and 50s that are protesting interracial marriage, and they've got the big signs, often with the Bible passages on them that they're marching around with. I see those photos and I wonder how those people explain themselves to their grandchildren. How do they look at the next generation and say, I fought against what we now know is right. I tried to stop equality. I tried to keep two people in love apart for no reason other than my own bigotry. When I am old, I want to be able to look at the next generation and say that I always stood on the side of equality. That I protested, both with my vote and with my wallet, those who tried to prevent everybody from being treated fairly. What will you tell them? Anyhow, thank you so much for your support on the last video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I put out new videos about once a week, and they are actually not all about Chick-fil-A. So I would really appreciate that, and thanks for watching. I hope I will see you at Chick-fil-A on Wednesday with the water. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about voting. So I kind of hate politics, okay? I admit it. I feel like politicians are a lot like the mean girls in middle school. You know, they pick fights, they form alliances and take sides and take quotes out of context and do smear campaigns. And I hate that, and I admit that it's generally kind of miserable to watch. In fact, in high school, I used to say that I was never going to vote because as far as I could tell, no candidate was worthy of my vote. They were all jerks. Plus, the entire political game just felt very overwhelming. There were just so many issues, and you know, I cared about a lot of them, but I also didn't care about a lot of them, and then some I wasn't really sure how I felt about, and many I felt like if I asked anybody about them, I would be like shamed or in trouble for not already having an opinion, and yeah. And so high school me thought, why vote at all? I am certain that I am not the only person who has ever felt that way, and I'm certain many of you still feel that way. So this video is about why, despite all of that, you should still vote. Now, I'll admit there are a lot of ways I could try to shame you into voting. Women, I'm talking to you. Your right to vote was fought for in a very serious way, so to see you shrug your shoulders is kind of a slap in the face to your great-great-grandmothers who were jailed and beaten and generally just made miserable so you could have that right. Sorry, I try not to do too much shaming, but that one is actually a kind of big deal to me. But the real #1 reason you should vote is because not voting helps 0 people. 0. Not a single person will have a better life for your silence. Not a single person will be grateful for your silence. Not you, not those around you, not people that you've never met. 0 people. Your silence accomplishes 0 good in the world. However, your silence accomplishes quite a bit of bad because silence is very helpful to the bullies of the world. I mean, think about it. You walk by a fight and you see some bully like punching the crap out of a kid, and you just shrug your shoulders and keep on walking. Who did your silence help there? The answer is the bully, not the kid getting punched. He probably wishes you'd said something. I see this thing all over Facebook, this super emo thing. If you don't understand my silence, how will you understand what I have to say? I won't, because you're being silent and I have not yet developed my mind reading powers. Tell me what you want. Tell me how you feel. Tell me how I can help you. Tell me what you care about. And you can tell me and the world those things by way of your vote. To say that your one vote doesn't matter or isn't worth the hassle or will get canceled out anyway by my mom / boyfriend / dad / that guy that works at the subway down the street is bullshit. You think your voice wouldn't matter to that kid getting punched? It matters. And that is a good thing that it matters. It matters so much that it's worth putting up with all the shenanigans of politics. And that's an awful lot of shenanigans, let's be honest. Voting does not mean you have to get in Facebook fights. It does not mean you have to swear your allegiance to a single party forevermore. It doesn't mean that you have to know the history of every single law that's ever been passed. Voting does, however, mean that you are trying to make the world better. You're trying to help. You want the world to be better in the future than it is at the present. Voting means that you have a voice, and not only are you brave enough to use it, but you're concerned enough to use it. You're involved enough to use it. You care enough to use it, and that is a pretty amazing thing. Links below on how you can register to vote. I'll be doing some additional voting themed videos in the future, not on any specific politician, but rather on sort of how to make a decision when you're overwhelmed, how to get informed, that sort of thing. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about NaNoWriMo. So I'm a huge fan of NaNoWriMo, as we have already established in this old video from 2010, which is really embarrassing to show you because it's so old, but you know, there you go, huge fan. I have mostly stopped participating in NaNoWriMo because, you know, it's no longer National Novel Writing Month. It's like, you know, my job. NaNoWriMo is awesome because it's essentially practice. All writing that you do is practice for the next writing that you'll do. And practicing writing a novel in a month is really excellent because there have been times when I've had insane deadlines, and knowing how to write quickly has helped me meet them. However, there is a catch. You have to practice writing a decent novel in order for this to really pay off for you as a writer. I know that per the rules of NaNoWriMo, you just have to write 50,000 words. It can be 50,000 words, of which 20,000 of them are your character singing a song in rounds. I know. But if you have your character sing a song in rounds every third chapter just to meet that 50,000 word goal, you will not end November as a better writer. You will just end November as somebody with a 50,000 word document. Now, if that 50,000 word document is the only thing you're going for, it is cool, go forth, do that. But if you're using NaNoWriMo as a tool to become a better writer, then you can't cheat. Now, you can write crap, you can write a throwaway scene, you can write books that have really bad plot or something, but you have to at least try to make it good in order to benefit from it. Characters singing in rounds is not trying. Characters discussing the way the clouds are forming for like 17 pages is not trying. Typing all the lyrics to every Katy Perry song is not trying. I've actually seen that one on the NaNoWriMo message boards. Really? Really? So with that said, here are some additional NaNoWriMo tips. First off, if it is your first time doing this, I highly recommend getting involved in the message boards. They're a lot of fun. Secondly, remember that no one dies if you don't hit 50,000 words, all right? It is okay. Don't stress about it. Third, you should buy a t-shirt because you'll be glad you have it. And fourth, do not immediately self-publish your NaNoWriMo novel at the end of November, okay? It is not good enough on December 1st. There is not a writer in the world who can write a really good publishable novel in 1 month, okay? The 1 month, think of it as a draft, all right? Go away for a while, come back, revise, edit. Learning how to edit is just as important as learning how to write. All right, so there you go. I hope you are enjoying NaNoWriMo. Let me know how you're doing in the comments, and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is some tips for heroes in spy movies. I've noticed the heroes in spy movies, they frequently make the same mistakes over and over and over, so I thought I would make this video to help them out and to help you out in case you should ever find yourself in a spy movie. Number one, that hot girl, the one that just walked in and you're looking at her and she's looking at you, yeah, she's gonna kill you. And there's a 90% chance she's gonna do it either with her heels or something she pulls out of her hair. Number two, apparently you can find out about anything on a given computer system by hacking into the mainframe. So, you know, do that, whatever that is. Number three, look around you. Which one of your friends has an accent? That's the one that's gonna betray you. Number four, your mother is still alive. Number five, your father is still alive. And number six, your half-sibling is evil. Glad we cleared up all the family ones. Just done. Oh, and number seven, there's a bomb under your car. Number eight, that guy you just captured, kill him. Kill him right now. Don't let him go out of some weird sense of justice and like righteousness. Kill him, because otherwise he's gonna come back in 30 minutes or less and try to kill you, okay? Also, if you don't have the stomach to kill somebody, why are you a secret spy? It seems like an odd career choice for you. Number nine, before accepting the position as a spy, go ahead and up your auto insurance rates because you're going to crash a sports car. It's just gonna happen, probably in the next hour. Number 10, seriously, the hot girl is gonna kill you? Keep it in your pants, male spies. And number 11, here are the people you need in your posse. You need a computer programmer, an ex-con, a hot girl, and a geeky ingenue. If you look around and you don't have one of those people, then you're gonna lose, all right? You need all of those people in your gang. All right, I hope that helps, heroes in spy movies. This should really assist you in not getting killed and not boring me for 2 hours. So, you know, go forth. Use these tools. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'm Jackson Pearce, and this video is about the Vestal Virgins. The Vestal Virgins, or Vestals, were priestesses of the hearth goddess Vesta in ancient Rome. No one really knows exactly when they came about, but it was probably somewhere between 1717 BC and 1773 BC. Now, the Vestals, because they were priestesses, they were obviously all female, and they were selected before puberty. To become a Vestal, they had to vow 30 years of servitude to the goddess, which included a vow of celibacy. Now, after those 30 years were up, they could retire and marry and live relatively normal lives. They even got a pension from the state. When selected as a Vestal, a girl was taken away from her parents and taken to the goddess Vesta's temple. From the moment she entered the temple, she was under the goddess's protection and she began her service. she would spend the next 30 years living in the House of Vestals, which was essentially like a dormitory behind the temple where all the Vestals lived. The job of the Vestals was to keep the sacred fire of the goddess Vesta burning and to sort of sometimes collect water from a sacred spring, and they had a lot of other Vesta-related duties that they kind of attended to. More importantly, perhaps, the Vestals were in charge of the wills and testaments of some of Rome's most important citizens, including Caesar and Mark Antony. They were also trusted with treaties and formal documents and sacred relics. And even more impressively, the Vestals were allowed to vote, own property, and make a will, which were rights not extended to most Roman women. They could also free prisoners and slaves by touching them, and if you were on your way to execution and you saw a Vestal virgin, then you were immediately pardoned. And their carriage got their right of way when they were riding around in Rome, which as somebody who drives around in Atlanta a lot, I think is pretty fantastic. Seriously though, the Vestals, because they were free of the obligation to marry and bear children, were some of the most socially and politically powerful women in ancient Rome. There were some downsides. If they let the sacred fire go out, then they got whipped. And if they had sex and broke that vow of celibacy, then things got really, really complicated. See, ancient rules dictated that you could never spill a Vestal's blood, so if she had sex, you couldn't just, and kill her. So what they would do is they would go outside of town and they would dig a pit, and then they would put the Vestal in the pit with some water and some food, and then they would cover the top of the pit, and that way she would eventually die of starvation, and that way they weren't killing her, it was just the lack of food and water in the pit that really did her in. I don't really know, I guess that helped them sleep at night or something, I don't know. It seems like they're still killing her to me. Various Vestals were punished in such a manner, and some probably legitimately did have sex, and others were probably just being used as scapegoats when Rome fell on hard times. One of the most famous Vestals was Tuccia. When Tuccia was accused of losing her virginity, she prayed to the goddess Vesta to allow her to carry water in a sieve from the river all the way back to the temple to prove her innocence. Which, I don't know how many of you have ever made spaghetti, but carrying water in this thing is not easy. Well done, Tuccia. Don't know how you did it, but well done. All in all, the Vestals and the stories that surround them are really, really fantastic. They were some of the most powerful women in Rome at the time, and they were the only female priest in Rome's religious system. They were badasses, and they knew some secrets about sieves. Yeah. I think this one looks like a cat when I hold it this way. I think I have too much time on my hands too. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I'm Jackson Pierce, and I made my hair do this thing, and I'm never gonna do it again because I burned the crap out of myself on that curling wand thing. Anyway, I'm Jackson Pierce and this video is about charities. So charities are pretty fantastic. Giving money to worthy causes is pretty awesome. For years, I actually gave money to a specific charity because I had a lot of friends that were involved with it, and I liked what they did. They seemed to do good things. They were really popular. They were everywhere. And then later I discovered that their CEO makes like $600,000 a year, which I know that running a really big charity is probably not that different from running just a really big company. And if you want the best, maybe you have to pay the best salary. I get that, but I also was kind of like, I gave you money and I don't like to think about it going towards some guy's home in Cape Cod. So this video really is about choosing which charity to give your time or your money or both to. Number 1, decide what you want to give your time and your money to. Cancer research, animals, orphans, literature, literacy, feeding the homeless. There are a lot of options available to you. Number 2, I would highly consider finding a local version of whatever your cause is. Now, there is nothing innately wrong with big national or international charities at all. They have a lot of power, they can do a lot of stuff, but giving money back to your local community is always nice. And number 3, check your charity out on a website like charitynavigator.org. Charity Navigator gives a star rating to charities based on how transparent they are about how they spend their money and how effective they are at using their money to help their cause. A lot of times the huge, popular, well-known charities are so huge and popular because they spend more money on publicity than they do on their cause. This was actually the site I was using when I discovered the charity I have been giving to paid their CEO $600,000. Now, I know a lot of you are not in a position to donate money for one reason or another. That is totally cool. I am often not in a position to donate money either when my friends and coworkers and the people that stand on the street corners near where I live are harping on me about it. So if you don't have any money, remember that you can always donate your time, which is something those local charities that are probably less well-funded really, really appreciate. Another thing you can do is just talk up the cause online, especially if it's an obscure one. There are certain causes that just already have so much press that sometimes I feel like these more obscure causes get kind of swept under the rug and we don't hear about them even though they're really, really important too. There are also some websites out there that you can use to raise money for a cause without actually spending your own money. One of those is opinionoutpost.com. Opinionoutpost.com allows you to raise money by taking like online surveys and stuff. So since I'm talking about charities, I do want to give a shout out to my sort of charity of choice, which is The Star Won't Go Out, which is the Esther Earl Memorial Charity, I guess we would call it that. But they do some really, really fantastic work. They're very, very popular in Nerdfighteria, so a lot of you probably already know about them, but if not, I will also include the link to them somewhere below. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this is my new favorite hairstyle because I have not washed my hair, and you would never know. Except now you do know because I just told you, but I'm just saying, it's a thing. I also think this is probably one of those hairstyles that girls really like, but dudes probably don't really like on girls, but I'm not trying to impress you dudes, so here we go. Anyway, so this video is about the cross introduction and how I am terrible at it. So the cross introduction happens when there are two people and you know both of them, but they don't know each other. So let's say you're talking to two people and their names are Steve and Bob. The correct way to do a cross introduction would be to say like, hey Steve, this is Bob. Have you guys met before? No, now everyone's friends, yay. I am, for some reason, really bad at doing that little tiny, you know, hey Steve, meet Bob. I can't do it. I don't know why, I just don't do it. I think it's because I always assume that everyone knows everyone else because I am so rarely in situations where I know more people. I am not much the social butterfly. So I'm always talking to Bob thinking like, he knows Steve. Steve can break in at any moment now and join this conversation. When really Steve is standing over there going, Jackson is a jerk. I would really like to talk to Bob, but I haven't met Bob, so I'm just gonna stand here acting unusual. La, 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 la. I'm sorry, Steves of the world. I thought you knew. I thought everyone knew everyone else and I was the only weird one who knows like nobody. This is especially bad in the writing world for me because I always make the mistake. So like if I do introduce them, then they've already met and they're old friends and they think it's weird that I introduced them because of course we know each other. And if I don't introduce them, I walk away and my friend goes, I really wish you did introduce me because I would have really liked to met that person, Jackson. And I'm like, oh God, let's go catch him. Maybe we can find him, but they're always gone. So I guess what I'm getting at is that if you invite me to your party, I will awkward up the room single-handedly and it will truly be a thing to behold. So tell me in the comments if it is just me, are you good at the cross introduction and just sort of networking in general? Because I suck at networking. Like even the idea of networking, I'm like, I couldn't construct my friends on a spider chart and show relations. I just don't know. All right, thanks for watching and I will see you next time. I'm Jackson Pierce and this video is about selling my first book. So normally when I do videos, I kind of have an outline of what I want to say, but I kind of have been meaning to do this for a while and I thought I would just tell it the way that I remember it and probably have a lot of editing to do. So in 2007, after a long time of querying agents, I finally got an offer from a literary agent and I was super, super excited. I actually got the offer. I was looking out, I lived in a condo in Athens, and I was looking out the window spying on my neighbors who were putting a note in my little mailboxy thing. We had these little flappy mailboxes. I lived amongst all these old people and if you drove too fast through the neighborhood, within 5 minutes there would be a little note in your mailbox. It was like, please slow down in our neighborhood. And so they were putting a note in my mailbox over God knows what. I did everything wrong to these people. So anyway, I was spying on my neighbors and then my phone rang and it was a 212 area code and 212 is the New York area code. So I was like, oh God, and I answered the phone and it was an agent and she really liked my book. It was actually called There Are No Stars in Caliban at the time. And she made an offer of representation. I actually did end up sort of looking at another agent as well, and I went back and forth between the two, and eventually I signed with one, and I had an agent, which for those of you that are querying agents, you know that is a big deal. Like that is a huge step. You feel so relieved when you finally get an agent after trying for so long. So then in August or September, I don't exactly remember which one it is, we went out with it, which means we began showing the book to editors and trying to get one of them to make an offer and buy the book. So it went out and I sat on my email. I mean, I would occasionally wake up in the middle of the night and check my email just in case, because you never know. I was constantly just hitting refresh. I had a day job at the time, so I'm sure I got nothing done during the few weeks when it was out. I was just constantly, oh my God. And finally, an editor at a publishing house really, really loved it. She wasn't totally sure she was gonna make an offer yet. She wanted to talk to me on the phone. So I set up a phone call. My agent is on the line and I'm at my house and I'm like, an editor's going to call, an editor's going to call, an editor's going to call. I talked to her and she's so nice and so kind, and it is so heartwarming to hear somebody say good things about your book when you have kind of been toiling away on it for so long, and you've been toiling away on it with very little professional recognition for what you've been working on. You know, until you get that agent and publisher, sometimes it can feel like, am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing it right. Maybe I'm no good. Maybe I am good. I have no idea. And now that I had this agent and now that this editor was saying my book was good, it was just like, oh my God. So she was really interested and I was incredibly excited. And then another editor at another publishing house was really, really interested. So I talk on the phone to her. She is super, super friendly. She's actually interested in doing 2 books and doing As You Wish and a sequel. And so I'm just, you know, oh my God, not only do you like my books, but you like my books so much you want to do 2 of them. I took that call in the conference room of my day job. So when I came back out, all of my coworkers were just like staring at me like, how did it go? How did it go? How did it go? And they were all so supportive, and it was fantastic. And then another editor was really interested in the book, and that, like, by this point, I was losing my mind. And the thing is I hadn't told anybody that I had any interest whatsoever. I kept completely quiet about it, with the exception of my coworkers because I couldn't hide it from them. But I hadn't told my family, I hadn't told my boyfriend at the time, I hadn't told anybody that I had these offers on the table. So by the time the 3rd one came in, I was just losing my mind. And you know, I talked to her on the phone. She was also so nice. And eventually all 3 of these publishers came back with offers. I ended up taking an offer from HarperCollins. And literally as soon as I hung up the phone, I called my grandfather, who I was very, very close to. He died actually the next year. So he got to see my book in ARC form, but he never got to see it come out in hard copy. But I called him immediately. He was the very first person I told. I didn't want my grandmother to know, so I called and I said, can you put Papa on the phone? I want to tell him a joke. And she was like, you want to tell him a joke? And so she goes and she gets him and she puts him on the phone, and he says, hey, you want to tell me a joke? And I say, like, no, Papa, I just said that because I wanted to get you on the phone. I didn't want her to know. I wanted you to be the first person that I told that I just sold my first book. And I actually recorded the conversation, and because he died so soon after that, that recording is very, very precious to me, and I'm very glad I did it. To be honest, at the time, I kind of just did it as something to put on my blog, and now I am so happy that I have that. But anyhow, what was so funny about it is I told him about how everybody wanted it, how somebody made an offer, how the book was going to be published, and he said, what's the joke? And I was like, no, Papa, there's not a joke. There's not a joke. And he said, I thought there was supposed to be a joke. And I'm like, no, there's not a joke. I promise, there's no joke at all. So anyway, he was the very first person I told. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think the next thing I did was I printed out the offer and I called my parents and I said, hey, I have some paperwork questions that I need you to help me figure out. It's something to do with taxes. I'm gonna need to come to your house. My parents live about 40 minutes away from me. So they thought I had gotten fired and I was driving up to tell them that I had gotten fired. But so I drove up there and I was like, here's the paperwork, and I handed it to him, and my dad's like, what is this? And I was like, it's an offer. And he's like, an offer for what? Who's Harper? I'm like, parents, I've sold my first book, and they were so excited, and it was amazing. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life so far. So anyway, that is my tale. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about fake Facebook stories. So everybody has one of those Facebook friends that is constantly sharing like big news stories. Often they're political, sometimes they have to do with like health or medicine. Sometimes they're just weird, but either way, this person is always clicking share and adding something that they did not themselves create to their wall. Or maybe you are that person, in which case I am talking directly to you in this video. That thing where you just share stuff you didn't write and therefore you don't really know the legitimacy of is one of the things I hate the absolute most about Facebook, and I hate a lot of things about Facebook, so that's really saying something. I saw one recently about this cancer thing, and it was basically how you shouldn't eat sugar because it feeds cancer, and you shouldn't eat like dairy products because they feed cancer, and there was this whole list of various food-related things that you could do that would pretty much guarantee you would never get cancer. And this whole list was titled something like New Cancer Developments as Discovered by Johns Hopkins. It took me about 1 second of Googling to find a response from Johns Hopkins basically saying, we didn't write that Facebook story and it is all complete crap. It is so dangerous to share incorrect health information like that. And honestly, I think it is an incredibly cruel thing to do. Because almost all of us know somebody or have a family member that's affected by cancer, and to sort of say, hey, here's this new research that you can save your family member with, and then decide a major cancer research center, that is mean. That is really mean. Whoever wrote that is a bad, bad person, and those of you sharing it without doing any research, you gotta rethink your choices, okay? I also saw this thing, it was a few months back, it was right after the Sandy Hook tragedy, and it was about this Marine who was in uniform standing outside his daughter's elementary school, and he was there in uniform, he wasn't asking to be paid, he wasn't asking for any compensation, the principal wanted him there, and he was just there for America. And the story was about how the Marines got angry that he was wearing his uniform and they gave him a dishonorable discharge after he served like 2 tours of Iraq and like Afghanistan and jumped on a landmine or something. Only the thing was, he actually wasn't a Marine. He dropped out after basic training. So basically, there was a dude in a military uniform who didn't really have the right to wear one, hanging out outside an elementary school. That's creepy, and I'm glad that he was asked to leave. It took 1 second of Googling to discover the truth about that situation. 1 second. There's also one going around now that really, really bothers me, and it's a picture of a fetus, of a very, very detailed fetus, and the Facebook share thing says like, this is what a fetus looks like at 12 weeks old, and it's illegal to kill this baby in every state in America. How could you? Only the thing is, that's not a picture of a fetus, that's a statue. And that's also not what a fetus looks like at 12 weeks. Now, regardless of where you feel on abortion, that's just not what it looks like at 12 weeks. That's just all there is to it. It does not look like that. So anyway, the whole point of this video is before you click share, it is so easy to click it, you just like, and then it's on your wall. Before you do that, take like 1 second and Google it and make sure that it is real. Let's not spread fake information just because it's easy and convenient. Besides, there is too much actual true stuff going around that is just as cool. Share that. Put that on your wall. What bothers me is my Facebook friend who is always doing this is totally not gonna see this video. I post, every time she puts this up, I post a little reply that's like, this is not real, because it is never real with this one. I don't know if she listens, but you really should. Really bothers me. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about marathoning TV shows. So a few weekends ago, I was like, you know, I wanna see what all the internet fuss is about. I'm gonna watch the first episode of Game of Thrones, so, you know, just to see what's going on. So I download the first episode and I turn it on and I'm sort of like, here we go. So I watch an episode and then I watch the second episode, because you can't really get a good feel from the first episode. You gotta watch the second. So I buy the second and I watch the second, and then I watch the third. And then on like Wednesday, I woke up from my Game of Thrones coma that I had been in, and I was all disoriented and confused. I'm walking around like, you there, why aren't you drinking wine? And you miss, why can't I see your breast? Yeah, I watched the entire like 20 something hours of the show in days. And now I am really quite sad because I can't watch season 3 because I'm not paying $150 for HBO. I'm not gonna legally download it, and it's not available online for me to buy legally, so I guess I'm just sad. Anyway, I tend to do this with television shows. I tend to marathon them and just watch all of them in like one big go. Sometimes they're relatively short shows, so this doesn't present a huge interruption to my life. Firefly, for example, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, there's only a few episodes. It takes no time at all to watch them in one, sitting even. But then there was the time that I got really into Criminal Minds, and I watched all like 8 seasons that I had missed in the space of 3 weeks. Have you ever watched that much crime drama in a very short period of time? I left my house certain that I was about to be hacked up into little pieces. Like I'd seen somebody who was, upset their car, gotten dinged in the parking lot. And I'd be like, well, based on the color and the placement of that, I'd say we're looking for a mid-30s male, someone that probably works with his hands, perhaps a transient worker, or maybe some kind of mechanic. And the person would be like, lady, I just wanted to file a police report. What's wrong with you? What's interesting though about the marathoning shows thing is that even if the show is bad, I will watch all of it just to sort of get a complete package. I watched all of Lost, for example, even after it stopped being remotely good. I was recently able to wean myself off of Revenge, which was really quite an accomplishment for me. However, there was this one show that I started watching. It came on in, I think, the late 90s, maybe early 2000, called Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey had an amazing premise. It was so cool. It was Batman's daughter, Batman and Catwoman's daughter, who was working with the former Batgirl who had been paralyzed in a fight with the Joker. And I thought that is the coolest premise in the world. And Harley Quinn was a character, which was extremely cool to me because Harley Quinn is one of the best Batman characters. So I started watching and I was excited, and it is terrible. It is so bad. And I knew like after episode 3 that it was gonna be a terrible, terrible show. But I kept watching, man. It was like homework. Like I'd sit down, you know, sorry, I'd hang out tonight, but I've got a lot of Birds of Prey to watch, and it's certainly not gonna watch itself. So anyway, this is part of the reason actually that I have not started watching Doctor Who, is because there's a lot of Doctor Who. Like even if you start with the newer Doctor Who, there's still quite a bit of it. And so I feel like I need to block off a huge portion of my time in order to marathon Doctor Who, because I know I'm gonna do it. There's no way, I'm totally gonna do it. So anyway, do you marathon shows? Are you able to step away from a show when it gets bad, or do you keep watching because you want to find out what the hell that island is all about? All right, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. I'm Jackson Pierce, and this video is about messes. So Clorox asked me to come up with some funny words for their new Clorox Ictionary, which is like a wiki-style dictionary for icky things. And I enjoy coming up with funny words because it's like what I do. So I was like, yeah, sure thing, and I came up with 5, and here are my 3 favorites. Number 1, apocalyptic, which is when you're bumped into while you're trying to apply lipstick. Number 2, egg drop soup, aka first down. When you try to carry all the shopping bags from the car in one trip and everything inevitably falls all over the floor. And number 3, fail polish. When you have a few spare moments to paint your nails but then can't do anything because you're afraid you'll mess them up or smear them on your clothes before they dry. So those are 3 of my 5 Ictionary words. You can see the other ones and also make up your own words if you want over at Ictionary.com. And yeah, thanks for watching. In all seriousness, I chipped 3 nails when all of those cans fell out of the bag because of course I did.